Yo, 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 YouTube. Welcome back to another live with the Dollar Box and Charlie and the Goat. There he is.
He's
There he
here. He
is.
made the trip.
He went on vacation, but he couldn't resist joining the live with us.
That's right.
So
That's right.
so we have some things planned for tonight, and we want to of course include everybody in the chat. We're gonna have to see if Charlie can hang with us or not. He's out in the woods somewhere. Internet's a little here or there, but we're gonna keep him around as long as we possibly can, because the show
So I
just
think
isn't
that
the same.
the
Show isn't the
goal with
same
the
without him.
the goal with the internet here is do the minimum possible so you can unplug. But that doesn't work real well when you have a live show to do.
Right, that very true. Trying to get to the live here. Let's see live. Okay, we're all set. Sorry about that. Okay, so we have three topics, of course, like normal that we want to cover, and then we got a few things we want to share for our own stories. I got a couple pickups that we want to share. Ironically enough, Charlie and I each bought a large random lot of cards this past week. I like to do that fairly regularly, at least every couple of months or so, just to expand my horizons. It's kind of like opening packs for me without the larger risk of failure,
Without the
and
mystery.
it's just a what's that?
Without some of the mystery.
Without yeah, right. And I've gotten pretty good at it. I'm good at buying lots. I'm this one just I don't want to get into it right too far right now, but just this one caught my eye because there were a couple cards that were showing on top. It was 1,500 cards. It was a big lot. There's only a few cards that were showing, maybe 8 or 10. I'm actually uploading a video on this right now. But when I talked to the seller, it was an older person who had gotten back into the hobby during the pandemic. It was something they did with their child, or I don't know if it was a kid, but like a offspring, right? And just wanted to get out of it. Now, what was ironic was usually when you have sellers like something selling something like that, it would be you'd print your postage from eBay, you'd get your tracking number, blah blah blah. This guy packed this whole thing up, took it to the post office, bought a shipping label with them, never uploaded tracking. So um, as out of date as that sounds, those are also really good lots to buy, because I know this guy wasn't cherry picking and just selling on eBay regularly. He was just trying to get somebody to buy him out essentially.
So
But it
so
turned
did
out
you
to be a
have
pretty
like
good
a
lot.
side chat with him?
I did, yeah, in eBay.
Okay. Okay.
Yep, because I just when it's that mysterious, and I'd offered him. Okay, so it's 1,500 plus cards is how he listed it, and he wanted $100, I think, or $110.
Okay.
I had offered him 50 or $75. He came back at 85, which I like because that meant that he was okay letting it go for less.
Mm-hmm.
I look at that as like 4 to 5 cents a card, so it's kind of a no. You can't miss if it's all modern cards, because modern cards generally have an easier sell rate.
All right.
Hey, Bill, thanks for listening in. Look at this. See, starting at a later hour is already worked for us.
Look at that.
Um, right. I forgot what I was saying. Oh, so I had messaged him and I said, hey, I just want to get a feel for this. I know you have some piles of cards here in the picture, and you put a really good card on top. I get it. I said, what else is in there? Just give me an overview.
Right.
And he said, oh, there's some autos in there. There's some jersey cards in there. There's tons of color. There's some numbered stuff. I'm like, well, that's pretty solid at 8,500, at $85 for 1,500 cards.
Right.
Um, and I did already know what a few of the cards were. So that made me feel really comfortable of biting on that. And $85 is not a big chance in cards. If you go buy a box, you're looking at $400 or $500, right? For the
True.
most part. So that's how I looked at it. Now that's a little bit off our um, topic here, but just wanted to kind of throw that out there that that's something that we were going to talk about today. So we just came off of Father's Day. How was your Father's Day?
It was awesome. So my
Yeah.
kids did something a little different. They gave me 3 days of gifts, starting on
Hmm.
Friday, Saturday that continued, and then Sunday. So it was a group of some of my favorite things that
Nice.
ended with a blaster pack on our blaster box on Sunday. So we had a little pack
Nice.
battle with what was in there. I ended up pulling Father's Day Austin Riley relic. So that was kind of cool to pull that Father's Day relic on Father's
Sure.
Day.
Yeah, you got to
Yeah. How
hang on to
about
that
you?
one. Good. I didn't have any 3 days worth of gifts, but um, I did get some nice gifts. I got something that every dad needs, a dad joke book.
There you go.
So I'm probably gonna read one of these throughout each show now. That's gonna be your new. You got the goat. I got the dad joke book. That's
So
how we're gonna. That's how we're
I
gonna
gotta
run
tell you
this.
gotta tell you something about this that you have to build now, because I tell my team at work this every day, and I get the eye rolls, but they miss it when it's not there. Everything in that book has to go into the database.
Yeah, right. The database. Oh, geez. Well, here I'll just give you a little taste. Okay.
All right, let's do it.
Why did the banana go out with the prune?
I don't know. Why did the banana go out with the prune?
Because he couldn't find a date.
Love
It's a
it.
it's a it's a fruit joke. Get it? That's what we've. That's what we're down to now is fruit jokes.
That's
Hey,
perfect.
Batman. Yeah, shout out to Batman. He's in the house with us. Brian Jorgensen, his nickname is Batman. So thanks for watching us again. Always appreciate your support.
Woo woo.
All right, so our three topics for tonight, we're going to be prospect versus rookie, which I know is a hot topic for you. Not for me so much. I don't do as much baseball, but I can see where you're coming from. So I think I'll probably let you lead most of that discussion.
Yeah.
And then our other two main topics, if we get to them, is going to be pricing and sourcing.
Yep.
Some tips and tricks on that. And I think, Charlie, you had a couple things you wanted to talk about as well that I didn't throw on the main topic list. But we'll get into just about everything as we normally do. Um, so, I want to give you one show and share real quick. Is that
Okay,
okay?
let's do it.
Okay, so this is interesting. So one of my big sellers is these Capri Sun Nicktoons cards. They're stickers, like a clear sticker on like a paperback, right?
Sweet.
And I've sold them pretty well. I usually just buy a complete set of them. There's Doug and Ren and Stimpy and um, let's see who else is on here. Rugrats, stuff like that.
Blue?
Who?
Any blue?
No, no blue.
Oh, come on.
Um, so I bought one set, right? I paid $15 for it. It's pretty fair deal. I get $3 a sticker for them, and like I said, they sell well. So I ordered one set from them at the $15. He sent me a second set for free, which I don't know why you would do that, but that was very nice of him. Along with this little note that says second set included, or what does it say? Second set bonus. Because they are old. That's what's written on there. So like
All
because
right.
they're old, man. I watch those cartoons. It's like you're calling me old, man. But yeah,
Right.
so
Right.
I don't know. It's just crazy. So I got two sets, one for free. So I thought that was, I don't know. The comment on there just slayed me. I was like, what is going on here? That's an interesting statement.
I think you're going to be a repeat buyer if you have some more.
He had like 10 sets or something crazy like that. I don't
Okay.
know if it was somebody who just got like a bunch of, leftovers or they really liked Capri Sun. Because you got like two in like a little cellophane pack, I believe,
Right.
per Capri Sun. I think there were like 18 packs or something, is what Capri Sun came in
Okay.
at that time. Obviously it was like early '90s. These are 1992, and that's how you pulled them. But I'm trying to get more stuff that was big in the '90s. Now I was in high school in the '90s, so I didn't get into much of this stuff. But those guys are now coming into their midlife years where you've got more money and things like that. Whereas we were buying '80s stuff.
Right.
We buy albums and cassettes now, and all that stuff's back. Uh, so I'm thinking, well, what are the '90s kids gonna hit? So I've got the Nicktoon stuff. I've got some Power Ranger stuff. I got a list. Things like that. I feel like those are. Well, it's a good time to try to hit some of that stuff. I think you might be on mute.
Yep,
There
I
we
had
go.
some traffic. Had some traffic behind me, so I might mute
Oh,
once in
okay.
a while. I know the
Fair
family's
enough.
out to dinner too, and when they come home, there'll probably be a ruckus. So I'll try to spare y'all from that.
They went out to dinner without you? The heck?
Well, I was busy with the technical issues here, so.
Right on. Right on. Yeah, so I just thought that was you see some really weird things on eBay. I had gotten some really good deals like when I got back into the hobby before everything took off on price. I bought some wild card Favre stripe cards, which uh, anyone who collects Favre, that wild card stripes is something that you want. And this guy was selling them really cheap, and I could tell like not very eBay savvy. And he threw in like two or three of those for free with the couple that I bought super cheap. It was like $400 worth of cards I got for like $25.
Yeah.
By the time I got everything, I bought a Lionel Messi card a few years ago, and the card had a slight scratch on it. Not terrible. I mean, for a card that came out in 2004, it was fine. So he threw in another one, like an almost mint one. Now, I don't know what you know about Lionel Messi, but Lionel Messi rookie cards are a good thing to have, like forever.
What I
So that's
know
a go.
is him and I are tight, so I can call him
Right.
Lionel.
Lionel. Oh, he would love that, I'm sure. Yeah, when you see him in Miami, because Miami just bought him, paid a ton
Right.
of money to get him here. So, but yeah, so it's. I think we hear so many like this got lost in the mail, or the guy never shipped it, or this customer sent it back, and those stories are true. Yes, they do exist, but more often than not, you get stories like this where it's just everybody just having fun in the hobby, and hopefully we make a couple bucks, and you pass it along to somebody else and give someone else an opportunity, and that's I think it's good to have the good stories out there.
Yeah, absolutely. We need more of that.
Right. Okay, so before we get on to our bigger show and shares, let's start with our topic. So our first one, um, let's see, let me pull these up here. Let's start with pricing. Let's start with pricing. I want to
Okay.
start with that versus the prospect and rookie thing.
You don't want to get me all worked
So
up right away?
yeah, I think I'm hoping maybe the poor internet bails us out later on, and we don't have to discuss it too much. That's what I'm planning for at this point.
I see your strategy.
Yeah, yeah. But by the way, how about those Cubs?
How about
Mhm.
them? What are they in,
Yeah,
like, fourth now?
yeah, they just won 6 in a row or something like that, or 7 out of 8.
Oh,
I mean, the
I mean,
Cincinnati Reds are killing it right now, but
right, 11 in a row as of today.
yeah, 11 in a row.
Yep.
So yeah, that division, everybody sucks. So it's kind of fun to watch us all teeter all around, and
That's
we all have
that's
losing
fair.
records, but we could finish top in the division.
Right.
It's an interesting
Central's
season right
always
now.
like that, it seems.
It does. Usually there's like one or two real good teams, right? So it's usually like Cubs and Cardinals, or Brewers and Cardinals, or Cubs and Brewers.
But it changes, it kind of rotates.
Yeah, because it's smaller market teams. It's like you don't
Right.
have an LA in there or something like that where they're spending 10 times the money and stuff.
Crazy money every season, yeah.
Yeah, which is kind of nice. At
Hmm.
least I feel like, and I'm a Cubs fan, so the success is not something we're used to.
Right.
But I feel like every year we got a shot, no matter what.
Hmm.
You got to just got to win a few games. You got to avoid a few injuries. Maybe get a couple of good call ups. Get lucky with some farm system stuff. Maybe buy a player or two at the break,
Right.
and you got a shot. You only have to win like half your games to get into the playoffs.
Yeah,
If
that's
you
true.
got a 50-50 record, you got a shot. It might be a play in or something, but hey, it's still postseason baseball, so
Yeah, postseason is
you know,
postseason. Everybody's got a fair shot
postseason is
as long
postseason.
as you make it.
So since we're on the topic of baseball, have you seen any of Otani's stats?
I have seen that he's been crushing some home runs based on
24,
distance.
25, I think now, 25 now.
Yeah, and he's
He
leading the American League.
leading the American League. So this is insane. Okay, so he's a pitcher and a batter. That alone is insane in modern baseball. But he holds all of the best records for pitching on his team. Now, granted, it's the Angels, but they're not terrible this year.
Right.
He holds all the best numbers for pitching and all the best numbers for batting. Now, Mike Trout is on that team,
Yeah.
and this guy, I mean, he's got another MVP. There's, if he keeps it up, I don't see how anybody's going to defeat him.
Right. I mean,
So
he is as sure a thing to call a generational player that
yeah,
I've seen in my lifetime. Like
yeah,
most others, it takes a few years for them to really show that, wow, this guy is something special and is going to be for a long time. I think Shohei has hit the ground running immediately and just continues to impress.
yeah. He had to get through that year with the Tommy John and stuff, which
Hmm.
is pun intended, hit or miss.
Yeah.
Players either come back, players either come back much better or they come back much worse, and just especially a guy
Yep.
like that where he's got a pitch and bat. No. But they literally made a rule in baseball for Otani.
Yeah.
Literally made a rule because they'd never faced this before. But if you take a pitcher out, can he still be a designated hitter in the game? You have to address that if you've got Otani, anywhere near that lineup. At some point, it's going to happen.
You know what? But why wasn't that rule there? Because the greatest two-way player of all time, Babe Ruth, right?
Right.
Like this
Well,
isn't totally new.
but was there a designated hitter back then?
That's fair. Yeah,
I
yeah.
I think the pitchers just batted in every league.
Pitchers just hit. Yeah, yeah.
So he would have pitched and he would have batted ninth, or well, probably not ninth because he's Babe Ruth, but he batted, let's say
That's
he bats fourth or whatever. But
yeah. That's a great
and back
research
then
pro.
they pitched complete games, so he probably would have just thrown
Well,
the whole game and batted the whole game.
yeah, but that
You know,
that would be a good research project for someone if somebody watching the stream wants to check on that and let us know. So what
yeah.
happened if Babe Ruth only went 6 innings, 7 innings? Did he get that last at bat in the ninth inning, or was
I
he
think
removed?
I think he would have had to be removed.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that's just how it was played then. You didn't have the
Hmm.
complexity of the game you have now. But do you want to sports struggle to get an audience, right? There's so many things that command our attention. It costs money. The games are long. There's
Yep.
advertising. There's all these things that don't appeal to a modern audience. Do you really want Otani to have to come out of a game?
Absolutely not.
I don't. I don't think so. That's cheeks in the seats. When that guy
Yep.
plays. So
That's why I bought the ticket.
right. So I think they kind of had to make some sort of an adjustment for that. And to be fair, any future player then too, if they're a pitcher batter combo, they'll get a chance to continue to hit if they're done pitching. Most
Yep.
modern day starting pitchers don't go past the sixth inning.
No, they don't anymore.
So if that guy's a good batter, you're not going to let him impact the game in the seventh, eighth, or ninth just because he's not pitching anymore. Like, I don't know, it wouldn't really make any sense anymore.
Right.
But anyway, things like that always trigger in my mind. The things like Steph Curry. just shooting like 6,400 3-pointers a game or whatever. That was total game changer.
Yep.
Brett Favre with the Ironman record, Cal Ripken with an Ironman record, records that can't be broken. Things
Yep.
like that. I think I pay, and this is how I'm going to bring this back to cards. I pay attention to those things because that's legacy type stuff. That doesn't go
Yep.
away. Jackie Robinson breaking, the color barrier. Obviously, that one's a little bit more important than some of the other, a lot more important than some of the other things. But nevertheless, his name will forever be tied with changing something. Something that was stagnant and didn't have to be addressed. Was changed because of him. Coming into the
Right.
game. So I
And of
think it's
course, those things build hobby for guys like us.
right. Right, and that's guys that win lots of championships and MVPs, and there's the normal things that are easy to account for. But how long do those last in memories? Like, do you know who the NBA champion was in 2014?
I do not.
I don't either. Now, granted, maybe that's a bad ass because I'm not a big NBA fan, but those things kind of fade because that's just like that happens every year. There's an NBA champion every year.
Yeah.
But somebody who changed the game, put a new rule in, are you like, how many on this stream have ever watched Tommy John pitch back in the day? Probably none of us. But you'll always know the name Tommy John because of what he contributed. Look at Lou Gehrig's disease,
Yeah.
Unfortunately, those guys are named after, some not so positive things, but I'm just using that as an example of you create that legacy, and regardless of your accomplishments in the sport, you can maintain some hobby and you can maintain a place that can't be, denied by somebody else later on.
Right.
Now you got a Brady who wins 7 Super Bowls. You got, there's the
Never heard of them.
the bigger exceptions, where it's the accomplishments that create that legacy, but there's only one guy who's going to be the quarterback for the most Super Bowls. That's
Right.
it. Like, you can't, you're not going to say, well, hey, now this guy's going to do it. Now this guy's going to do it. That's not how that works. So, Jordan, how he changed the game with the shoes and paying the fine every game because he wanted red on his shoes instead of all the stupid white. That used to
Right.
be a rule. I mean, that rule sounds insane now compared to what these guys wear on the court. But a lot of people don't know this, but soccer had a rule too where it had to be black shoes.
Hmm.
And that's changed quite a bit over time. Now you see guys with pink shoes and orange tiger stripe stuff, and because it was supposed to be a uniformity, right? So you had your kit colors, for your uniform, and then your boots, as they call them in that sport. Everybody had to look the same. So it's interesting
Boring.
how, right? I know. Well,
That's
yeah.
why they let
Well,
those
and then
rules change, right?
right, boring is part of it, but really the bigger part of it is money.
Oh,
These
sure.
guys come
Money
out with
drives
flashy
everything.
boots on, and Ronaldo has his own boots with his name on the side of them, and Nike sells
Yeah.
16 million pairs because his name is on it. Like, the money is what really talks. But and same case with
Yeah.
Jordan,
Even
with his shoes and stuff.
even some of the other leagues though that had been open to some of that unique stuff for longer, look at just in the last 10 years the changes in the NFL with the Nike color rush stuff, right? Like
Right.
Major League Baseball, the throwback unis and the alternate home and alternate away jerseys. Like, really what it comes down to is that's more sales in the pro shops.
Right.
But it also makes it a funner product to watch as well.
Sure. Yeah, like the pink breast cancer uniforms.
Yeah.
You add a cause into it, and you have some fun with that. I think about college football a lot. I think a lot of sports can learn from them. They go pretty wild on some of their designs. They do like
Yep.
different matte paint schemes, and
Yep.
they have different designed helmets that have like alien looking
Yep.
shapes and stuff to them. They've been very innovative because they're not as held back by some of the professional tighter rules for uniformity.
Yep. And guess what else that drives?
Hmm.
Variations in the hobby.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, sure.
it's
So your purple parallel to go with the purple uniform, right?
right,
Um,
right.
yeah, I think people like that. We don't want to be bored. I mean, I remember early '90s when cards came out. Yeah, I bought a ton of them. I wanted the Ken Griffey cards and stuff like that. But it was like I'd buy a box or two of 1990 Donruss, and I'd have like a stack of Griffies like this, and they were all the same. And it was like, well, yeah, the hobby's gonna die off of that. Who's gonna chase that card?
Yeah,
You can get a box for $15 and you get like 10 Griffies in it and they're all the same. I don't know. I think the hobby's really come a long way. So speaking of that,
agreed.
another sidebar before we get into pricing. We're turning into Bo here where it takes us 45 minutes to get into our first topic.
At least he
No
tells you
offense,
that,
Bo,
though.
if you're watching. Huh?
At least he tells you that. I heard him the other
Right,
day. He's
that's
like,
true.
"We're gonna talk about this, but if you know the show, it'll be about the 40-minute mark before we even
Yep.
get into it."
It's legit. I don't watch every day, but yeah, it's pretty that's pretty straight up. About 40 minutes,
Yeah,
45 minutes. Um, but did you hear some of the new bits about Fanatics?
I've heard some TNC changes with
Hmm.
dealers. That's
Yep,
the most recent thing I
recent.
heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're starting their own live breaking platform. I've enrolled in it because why not? Um, and the thought behind it is that they're gonna, because they make the products, they're gonna supply the products to live breakers that are on their platform.
Hmm.
So a couple other, so this affects a lot of things. Okay. So about a week ago, eBay came out and shut down a bunch of brake sales on eBay. You have to be like pre-approved to sell brake spots on eBay now. And some dealers already got approved. A whole bunch are that break, very regularly with good, feedback and things like that are in limbo. They have no idea if they're going to be able to continue to do it. And then Fanatics sent out to their shop, list of retailers, I guess, probably the better way to put it, and basically told them what they can and can't do with the products. Like they have to sell it as a sealed box, or maybe they'll sell some boxes for like loose pack sales, whatever it is. But that's it. They can't break them online. They can't sell online spots. They can't sell the boxes online. If they do breaks, it has to be in the store, and the person that's participating in the break must be in the store. Like it's pretty strict. Um, and I'm sure what they're going to do eventually is that platform will be designed where you have to log in, you have to report your sales. They'll audit stuff. I don't know exactly how they're going to keep track of that, but I'm sure they've thought of that part already. And I don't know if they're going to look at each individual store, like what is your layout, what does your store look like. Long ago was the old kind of junk comic book shop where you had stuff stacked all over in the corners and is you know dirty and not organized and pricing was wrong and all that kind of stuff. I Fanatics is trying to sort of shake that stuff out of the hobby. So I think that's very interesting. Now the breaking thing, I actually agree with. I think it's gotten too wild west. It's made it impossible for anybody to actually get product that just wants product and doesn't want to
Sure.
break. Most of the yahoos in the hobby, in my opinion, are in breaking. You got your backyard breaks. You got that other guy who like beat up the coworker right on the camera. Like there's,
I didn't hear
it's
about that.
insane. Yeah, it's insane. There's lots of swearing and half-dressed people, and like it's just not really what you want. Not
Which
really
breaks
what you
have you
want.
been watching, Adam? I haven't
What
seen
what
this
what
stuff.
they Charlie, what they really want to see is you and me on a camera. That's
Yeah.
what they're going for. They want like 7,500 guys that look like you and 7,500 guys that look
Yeah.
like me, and we're gonna break cards, and we're gonna actually send out all the cards that break. No, but seriously, I think it's something that needed to be cleaned up. I know
Yeah.
um, it got kind of out of hand again on whatnot, with breaking and stuff. They weren't really able to police things too well, and I hate to see people lose their money. Your first entry into the hobby might be buying into a break. You're not going
Yeah.
to buy a $500 box, but I'll buy my team for $50, and boom, they don't send you the cards, or they keep the hits, or where is that person going to go in the hobby?
Right. But it's the normal business cycle, I would say, too. You get a new
Right,
product offering that comes out. It's fairly unregulated because it's a new concept. It is
right,
the Wild West for a while until it gains popularity, starts, the big companies start to see some staying power, and they say, "Oh, we need to do something about this." It's funny as we talk about this, I used to feel the same way about eBay. I'm almost 50 years old,
right.
so I remember when eBay started. I still, up until a year or two ago, felt like, eBay. I don't know that I feel good about getting stuff on eBay because I think there's a lot of bad element. And I had to see for myself the changes that had taken place, how eBay, has changed some of their policies, have policed their business. The same concepts are now taking hold in the breaking as well.
Yeah, well, yeah, kind of along those lines, I sort of felt the same way. When I started selling cards, I was just selling, random stuff I had laying around that I wanted to. I literally had boxes in my basement, and as you know, I've been working on my basement. I'm installing a movie theater down there, so spent my Monday framing walls. Fun times. Anyway, I digress. Um, so that's how I started, and then it was like, then they came out with the standard envelope with tracking, because I was just doing PWE. I'm not going to charge $8 for shipping a card and all that on the cheap stuff. And then I started running the auctions. They gave me a big chunk of auctions, and so I would just, okay, I'll just put like 55 cards out there on auction, and they were selling well. And I was making some money, and it was like, wow, this eBay's kind of made this a legitimate way to do business now. And yeah, I was really happy to see a lot of their updates, and what they're able to kind of offer as far as for the seller and the buyer. There's protections on both sides, and
Right.
the buyers get frustrated with the sellers, and the sellers get frustrated with the buyers. But there has to be some policies in place for exactly what you said, to try to keep that wild west part of it out of there as much as possible. And when there's large groups or there's things that are happening, they take action. They kick PWCC entirely off the platform.
Yeah.
PWCC made their own auction platform, so that's fine. Now their breakers started getting out of hand, and then whatnot having a big breaker space, and they're like, let's nip this in the butt. I'm sure they have some sort of relationship with Fanatics, and Fanatics is like, dude, you don't have to worry about this problem anymore. Just zap these guys, and you can approve these few guys, and the rest of them will throw on our live platform, and we'll take care of the problem.
Right.
And eBay doesn't care, because they're still going to get single sellers and box sellers and lot sellers, and they're going to get plenty of it on there without breaking spots.
Yeah.
Taking up a chunk of space on the platform either.
So fun point here that I noticed in your conversation, and it goes back to our original premise of the vet and the rookie, right? I'm the rookie. It took me a while to know what the hell everyone was talking about with PWE, but now I
Oh,
know.
plain white envelope.
The things, those little things you take for granted if you're not doing this regularly. So the first couple
Yep.
times I heard it, I'm like, what is PWE? And I'm running through all these different phrases in my head, most of them inappropriate that didn't turn out to be
Right.
the right ones.
Pretty white elephant. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, essentially what we would do is put that in our listing somewhere, PWE, so that the buyer
Okay.
knew, like, hey, there isn't going to be tracking. It's not coming in a padded envelope. They couldn't choose a PWE service like you can
Okay.
eBay standard delivery. And that allowed you to say, okay, yeah, I'm selling this for $2 free shipping, because I'm not putting it in a $5 bubble mailer.
Right.
It's going PWE stamp, envelope and a stamp. And again, doing volume, on low end cards, it's fine. Even if you have a few that don't get there or get destroyed, whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you're doing the volume, you'll make up for a few here or there. I don't
Right.
really refund for as many cards as I sell. I don't really refund very many, you know, because they're lost or destroyed or stolen or anything like that. I've been very fortunate to some degree, and I also try to put in as many good practices as I can.
Yeah.
Sealing the top loader well, putting the sticker over the opening of the envelope. Getting quality labels,
Yeah.
taking them directly to a hub, for shipping, things like that. You kind of round those corners a little bit, mostly success.
If you think about it, there was over I think, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure that over 100 million trading cards sold on eBay in the last year.
Yeah.
And probably 70% or more went standard envelope.
Yeah.
Um, I'm just throwing that number out there. I was talking about this with my local mail carrier one day because he was picking up some of my outgoing. And we were talking about some of the damage and misroutes and lost
Yeah.
items. But we both kind of agreed that, look, when you look at the grand scheme of things and how many of these are going,
Yeah.
they're doing pretty damn well.
Right. Yeah. You will very rarely hear me complain about the post office, and they've done a doozy on a few of things I've either sent or I've received.
Yep. Yeah,
But it's such a small percentage, less than
it is.
1%.
Yeah.
And for the price of what they can do it for, call UPS and ask them about sending a single card for 60 cents and see what they say to you.
Right. Absolutely.
And it's essentially a public service, governmental service. It's a not for profit per se. It loses. People say it loses money every year, but do you say the military loses money? No, it's an expense. It's something that we need to have. We need to be able to move logistic, you know, solutions for mail and checks and people's personal information
Right.
that's on paper. There's a lot less of it now, obviously, with the digital landscape, but it's an important service. And if we got to pay some taxes in to keep it going, that's you don't have a choice.
Right.
You have to do that unless somebody comes along and does it better for 60 cents an envelope with
Not
tracking.
gonna happen.
Not going
Not
to
gonna
happen
happen.
because they're essentially trying to cover those costs based on the volume. If they can fill their trucks with enough 60-cent tracked envelopes, they're fine.
Yep. My prediction is if we ever privatize the U.S. Postal Service, expect prices to triple.
Yeah, I actually made a video on that a really long time ago. I should reshare that at some point. But my prediction is that Amazon would take it over because they already have the trucks. They're fleeting out everywhere. They have warehouse space. Um, yeah, I was just gonna say that Baseball Card Illustrated says make it 63 cents starting next month. Yeah, the
Yep.
prices pretty much always go up every 6 months. So you're looking at July. Usually it's end of July, but I think it's beginning of July this year, and then usually end of January is when they change the price. But yeah, they can certainly do it at any time, but at least
Right.
you're kind of getting away with. That's something to make it relevant to what our show is about. That's something I have to look at because I'd price a lot of my stuff $1.90, $1.29 free shipping, because I could still squeeze some 30 cents or so out of it. But I was doing that back when stamps were 57 cents.
Yeah.
So now that it's 63 cents, now I'm going to start losing 6 cents, or not losing, but making 6 cents less on each one of those. I have to start looking at, do I just not do anything $1.29? Do I make everything $1.49 minute? I don't know. So it'll be interesting to see how I decide to handle that part of it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I still think 63 cents is a heck of a deal, especially if you look at the costs of everything else around us at this point. I mean, everything just has insane costs
I
to
would
it.
agree.
So if they got to jump 2-3 cents every 6 months, year, whatever, it's par for the course.
anything you have to do that's less than $1 these days is
Yeah.
pretty darn good.
I don't even think you can get a gumball for, $1 anymore. I think
Doesn't
they all
seem like
make
it.
you put four. Well, it's all those bigger gumballs now. I just found, ran into this the other day at the mall. So they're bigger gumballs, but you got to put 4 quarters in that machine to get that gumball. It's
Of
insane.
course.
It's like,
Of
like,
course.
yeah, remember, how there's like the little coin slot right in the front of the
Yep.
machine.
Hmm.
Well, there's like this big fan of coin slots on the front of it, and you got to put a quarter all the way down around the row of it. Then you got this giant crank so you can dump all 4 quarters in that machine, and then this gumball.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like, wow, it's crazy. Why even bother?
Right. Right.
Just
For a piece of
just
gum
make
that's
it
going to taste good for 30 seconds, and then you're going to be like,
right.
ugh.
But I like that stuff when I was a kid. We used to go to the store called the White Store. Do you remember that? I don't know
No.
if that was out where you were at, but we had these stores around Midwest called the White Store, and it was literally that. It was like linen stuff, right? So there was some clothing, there was sheets, there was like curtains and stuff like that. So basically, the worst store you can go into as like a 10-year-old boy, right?
Right.
What I loved going to that store when my mom would want to go. It was close to home, so it wasn't a big trip in the car. They had one of those stupid little like chiclet machines right out by the front door. You put a quarter in, you get like 10 of them out of there.
Yeah.
It was a heck of a deal.
Little handful.
And
Yep.
I always got the quarter to get my gum out of there. So I was like, man, we're going to the White Store. I really don't want to look at curtains, but I'll take the chiclets. Hey, some lights just went on behind you.
Yeah. Yep. The fam just got home, so it might get a little loud here for a second.
That's okay.
Maybe I'll have Jenny come and
Sure.
do a little show and tell for me, because it's very entertaining to listen to her pronounce the names.
Of what?
Well, like I would start with this one. This probably isn't fair.
Tua?
But I'd be like, Jenny, can you introduce this card?
Tago Bailoa? Yeah, that's a pretty good one. There are some pretty, like, Giannis still trips me up. Antetokounmpo.
Yeah.
It's just too many tatas. There's too many tatas in there to make
Right,
it seem real,
right. Why are there so many vowels?
And the thing is when I first start saying his last name, all I can think about is antelope.
That's interesting. I never thought of that.
So then I have to stop myself from saying like antelope or antler or whatever, and go
right.
Antetokounmpo. It's
right.
It's very trippy. This is an extremely difficult name.
Right.
So anyway, let's actually get into a topic now that we're at 43
pricing,
minutes.
Right? We were talking about pricing.
We're at bow time.
Yeah, bow time.
Okay, so pricing. How do you do pricing? Do you have pricing tips?
Ooh, so
do you have pricing questions?
Yeah, so my method is evolving as I get more experience in the hobby. Boy, one of the reasons it took me so long to list when I first got started is because I was pulling up every single card, whether it was a base card, an insert, a parallel, even the most mundane cards. And I was seeing where people were pricing it, and I was trying to be like, typically I was trying to be one of the cheapest cards out there because I wanted to sell it. As I've gotten more experience, a couple of things are happening. One, I start to get a feel for a whole collection of cards is going to go for kind of the similar amount. And I don't worry about, is this going for $250 or $240? I'm listing at $225, $250. Usually I do quarter increments depending on what it is. But so that speeds it up. And the other thing is, I no longer worry about being the first in a search of lowest price to highest price. What I go for now is, here's what I feel I need to get out of it. And it's usually somewhere kind of in the middle. It's not going to be first in that low to high list, but it's going to be probably in the first 10 to 12. So maybe the cheapest one's going for $1. But about 10 or 12 down, you start seeing $1.75. That's kind of where I list it, and then I'll accept offers on it.
Yep. Yeah, and that's kind of how I've always done it. I do free shipping. I accept
Yep.
offers. I have a quantity bulk discount. So I'm offering deals. I'm not going to offer that up front.
Hmm.
Now, there's an argument that says, well, geez, you could charge just $1 for the card and then charge shipping, and then your lower price shows up, and I don't want to do that. I agree with
Hmm.
you. I don't feel like I have to be the lowest priced card on there to get a sale. I also believe there's added value that hardly anybody talks about. But if you have a good, solid eBay account, you have regulars coming back to buy from you, you have good feedback, you ship on time, top rated seller plus, power seller, you have a store, right? You
Right.
have volume. Those are things that trump any of that versus a guy who has like 10 feedback, he's selling it for $1 versus my $1.50. Maybe has out of those 10 feedback has one negative, you know,
Hmm. Hmm.
um, doesn't have a good picture, doesn't make any kind of description, doesn't offer any bulk discounts, doesn't accept the right. Um, I'm 99% sure that person's going to buy my $1.50 or at least make me an offer on my $1.50 versus buying the $1 one.
Right.
So I that's kind of how I, I look at it this way, right? So think about premium brands, right? Everybody wants to be a premium brand. You don't want to be a discount brand. So
Hmm.
does Nike sell their shoes for $25 because Skechers does?
Not even at the outlet store.
Not even at yeah. Well, once in a great
Yeah.
while, if you can add some discounts on top of it, but
Yeah.
yeah. So they because they have a quality product, they use good materials, they put more money and effort into it, design. The pro players wear them, they're comfortable, they have technology built into them, best factories are making them. Like they put all their stuff into it. They want the price that they need to get for those efforts.
Right.
Don't
Absolutely.
discount yourself. Don't discount who you
Your
are, who your
time.
brand is. And then the other problem with that is, let's say that's how you start. You're like, well, I don't have good feedback. I don't have a relationship. I don't have customers. This is what I want to do to get started. And I can respect that. But good
Yeah.
luck changing that later on. Now you have customers and they're buying at the bargain basement price. That's the
Hmm.
type of
Hmm.
customer base you've created. Now try to get 50 cents more out of that card.
Right.
You've created yourself another problem. Um, and we've talked about the shipping thing at nauseum at this point, but
Hmm.
charging shipping is just too much of a pain in the butt.
Yeah,
When you
I've
try to
converted all
combine
my stuff
things,
now.
yeah. If you really feel like you need that 60 cents, ask for the damn 60 cents in the listing and be
Right.
done with it.
Right.
Um, I never have to send combined shipping invoices or, my buyer, let's say I have a buyer that goes in and buys 4 cards. They go hit buy it now on their 4 cards, and then they send one payment for all 4 cards and they're done. They don't have to
Hmm.
get combined shipping. I don't have to build all these different shipping models and attach them to certain cards.
Right.
And then the only thing I do is I do charge shipping on cards that can't go standard
Agreed.
delivery.
Yep.
So
Same.
any PSA graded cards, any super thick stuff, um, oversized cards, 4x6 cards, something like that.
Yep.
Um, then I'll start looking at. Uh, I want that person to pay the shipping. I'm not gonna do that myself, and I haven't
Right.
had any problems with that at all. Almost every if you buy a PSA card, you can pretty much expect to pay ship. There's no
Yeah.
way that's going in an envelope, so
Right.
should be assumed by the buyer.
Yeah, and I've learned same with some of the relic cards because they're thicker, they're more rigid. I've had some problems when I've tried to use a standard envelope. So now
Uh-huh.
I send them first class, and I actually just had this conversation with a buyer the other day. I think it was an Ernie Banks 2012 or 2013 like sticker rookie commemorative card. I think I had it listed for 8. They made an offer for 4, and I had to tell the guy, I'm like, if I could send this in a standard envelope, I would probably take that. But I'm going to spend 360 to ship this to you to make sure you can get it. So I can't do it for that price.
And honestly, that's one of the big reasons why I avoid selling a lot of graded stuff. I'll do it
Yeah.
if I can find a deal on it or I get it in lots or whatever, but I don't specifically chase it down because it's not, it's, if you start getting towards the graded card market, that's not really low end. Even if it's a low
Yeah.
end card that's graded, it's not really low end because
Right.
now you're talking, a um, higher sophisticated collector, a higher sophisticated investor, right? That's not
Right.
really what I do, or what we do, I should say. Excuse me. And yeah, so I generally kind of avoid that. I have some stuff listed in there. A lot of it is just because it's from my own collection. So like, let's say I get
Hmm.
a PSA 9 of a card because I only collect PSA graded FAR stuff. Um,
Okay.
Other than I have some raw set aside that needs to be graded. But let's say I have a PSA 9 and I get a really good deal on a PSA 10, then I put that PSA 9 up for sale because I don't want them both. Um, and I sell quite a few of those, so it's done well
Yeah.
for me. But yeah, so pricing wise, anything else you want to add to that, or you want me to jump in?
Yeah, the only other thing I would add is that as I sell more, I start to build more history around certain cards. So then, even as we get into some of the parallels and some of the inserts, if I have a history of selling that card, I can determine a price much faster.
Right.
When I don't have a history, I think I still am spending a lot of time looking up some comps on it.
Sure.
But I anticipate the more I sell, the quicker I can have a price in mind for these cards. So just like anything, experience builds up efficiency, right?
Huge. Yeah, especially cards. I mean, there's trillions of them. Are you gonna?
Hmm.
It's impossible to memorize them all. You're right. You basically have to get a feel for it.
Right.
And I kind of do the same thing. Like I certainly don't comp everything out. I know if it's a base Varv card, I ask $1.50 for it. If I have 30 copies of it, I'll drop it down to $1.29. Start taking discounts. I sell a lot of
Hmm.
multiples of card, so that's helped. If I'll lower the price a bit, but then I'll have somebody buy 3 or 4 of them. So I'm
Okay.
making my margin and reducing inventory at the same time. Um, but yeah, honestly, some of it I kind of go by what I paid for it. If that doesn't sound weird. So let's say, like you saw how well I did in that 10-cent boxes.
Hmm.
Um, so I'm just going to show this as an example. Here's a Deion Sanders Fleer metal insert card that I bought. These probably comp out at $3, $4, something like that. I'd take
Right.
2.5 because I paid 10 cents for it. you know,
There you go.
I probably won't list it for that, but listing at a price is different than the price I would accept for a sale.
Absolutely.
So to me, it gives me a lot more room and it gives my buyer more room if they decide to make an offer. Now, here's something that I find very interesting. Um, so some sellers will say, "Well, just sell it really cheap and be done with it, right? Don't put it at a high price because no one will want it. They won't make offers." But I sell tons of cards at my asking price. Tons. Probably it's better than 50%. So less than
Okay.
half of my sales are people coming in and going, "Okay, you want $3 for that? I'll give you 2.5." They're these, stuff like I ask $3 for these. I was just looking in my sales history, was doing some quantitative numbers on those, and I sold like 12 or 13 of them in the last month, and like 9 of them went for full price, $3.
Nice.
So why should I ask 250 and try to be the lower price to get more sales? I'm getting the sales without doing that.
Right.
Um, so yeah, I believe that the model I'm working with is very successful. I mean, you've seen my sales day videos and things like that. Um, Full transparency. I don't really hide anything. I don't make a sales day video every day. Sometimes I just don't have time, but I make more than plenty of them to really show what I do, as well as some of
Yeah.
my bigger buys. I try to share a lot of that too. Okay, great, you sold it for a good price. Well, what did you pay for it? because that's just as important. But now let's say I had to pay $2 for this card. Well, now I can't sell it for less than 4, right?
Right.
Not necessarily a bad buy. A little bit more challenging on the sales side, but you make your money when you buy, not when you sell. I learned that from Charlie.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's say I don't have any of these in stock. Deion Sanders is a big seller of mine. I feel like, okay, well, that's another item I could add into the store. People will come by and buy multiple Deion Sanders cards. He has a market, a collector's market. See if I can get my $4 or $5 out of it. Then I got to start looking at offers. Somebody comes in and offers $2, I can't take it. So you just have to know that, you're limited there. Now, if it's a card I know is going to be pretty rare and pretty valuable, like I bought a box of Tom Brady base cards. I made a video about it. It was about a year ago at the Appleton card show. Well, there was a Rookies and Stars card numbered out of 39, but it was really hard to see the serial numbering on it. And I'm like, it's Brady. It's numbered out of 39. Doesn't matter if it's not a premium brand or anything. This has value for sure.
Sure.
And I'm like, what the hell would something like that go for? It wasn't super low numbered. It wasn't a great brand. It was a Rookies and Stars base card. Didn't have any fancy foil on it, nothing like that. A little serial number kind of buried in the dark blue on the bottom of the card. So that's something where I'm not going to put that at $4. I know it's going to do better than that, but is it $50? Is it $65? So when I start getting to the bigger dollars, then I start doing more comps, because then that's definitely worth your time.
Now you got me rechecking my Brady cards I recently got.
Yeah, right. If I'd have listed that at $4, it'd have been gone in 2 minutes, and that'd be the end of it. I would have. I mean, I paid 50 cents for the card. I still would have came out ahead, but that would have been severely shortchanging myself. What I could get. I listed it, and it sat for. Gosh, I probably sold it about 4 months ago, maybe 4 or 5 months ago. So it probably sat for about 6 months, but I got $40 for it. So pretty solid out of 50 cents.
Yeah.
And on a card like that, of that kind of player, that lower serial number, that's something that you is worth holding out for.
Yeah.
If it was a Fred Warner, out of 100, not team color matched, stuff like that. Well, okay, great. One went for his mom bought one of them for $35.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to get $35 out of another collector on that. You maybe have to be happy getting $25 or $30, whatever it is. So
yeah,
pricing is very complicated.
I got to tell you though, the thing you said tonight that really resonated with me, and I probably walk away with, is you have to understand what kind of seller you want to be. Do you want to be that discount seller that's looking to be the bottom line price for everybody, and maybe you sell a ton of volume that way? Or do you want to be known as that quality or premium seller that, yeah, you're not always going to be the cheapest, but you're going to get those guys coming back to you all the time because they know you're going to get a quality product that you've looked over, you've said, look, I'm sending this out because I can verify the quality of it. You're going to ship it right. And all of those things that go along with it. You've got a history built up where they can see, yeah, I'm going to get my card, and I'm going to get my card in good condition 99.9% of the time.
100%. I have 100% feedback.
100%.
Yeah.
So, you can't predict that to always be the case, though. The USPS just may run over like they did mine. So.
Right. Current status, 100% feedback.
Yeah.
But just because you're a low-end card seller doesn't mean you should be a low-end dealer. It's two different things. You can be a premium, high-end business person and sell to lower-end collectors or lower-end buyers. Once in a while I get messages from people. Sometimes it's Facebook, sometimes it's at card shows or whatever, and they'll say, how do you sell like 20 copies of one card? Like, why would anybody buy that? And sometimes it even surprises me. I'm like, why did somebody want 20 copies of this?
Right.
But if you look at my feedback, not just the number, but you look at like the words in the feedback, wow, this card was really nice, better than I thought. I could get this graded, blah, 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 blah. I attract those buyers as well. They're like, I'll buy 20 copies because I know that 10 to 12 copies of those cards are going to be pretty darn good. And I could probably do something extra with them. A lot of times, this is something to consider when you're dealing low end. A lot of times you're selling low end cards, but you're selling them to the next highest level seller.
Yep.
Right? So I'm selling 20 copies of that base Brady card to this guy. He's going to grade them. 10 of them are going to get him, you know, nines, tens, you know, whatever he thinks he can make a profit on, and then he's going to sell them, and that's how he makes his money or her money.
Right.
So there's a lot of aspects to what we do with the low end card selling, and do not discount your brand. Just because you're selling $1.50 cards doesn't mean your brand doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my take on pricing. The other good thing about it, not charging the lowest price, you can always drop your price.
Right. You have
So
flexibility.
if I have a card where, you know, the rock bottom from other dealers is $1 and I list it at $1 and it sells, that's it. I can't get any more out of it. I'm done. If I list it at $1.50 and I get somebody to buy it at $1.50 because of my brand, because of I took better photos, because of, you know, whatever it is, because I do 1 day shipping, which a lot of dealers don't offer. You know, I ship next day. Whatever. If that doesn't get you in to buy it, I still could drop it to $1 and get that sale. But
Yeah.
why give that up front? Like I want, if I'm going to put the work and the effort into taking a good photo, that's why I don't use a scanner, because you're literally going to get what I see in my lens eye is what you're going to see when you get that card in that top loader. That's why I ship in a top loader. Better protection, in my opinion. To me, those are the extras that allow me to say, hey, then I want a little bit more money for when I sell you this card, because there's more confidence and better results in the end. I can't tell you how many times I'll buy a card, a single low end card, and it comes in an envelope in just a sleeve and maybe wrapped in a piece of paper. It's not in any protector. Heck, sometimes it's not even in a sleeve. You know, it's in a sleeve that's all, you know, bent and distorted, and you know, I don't know. I think if you're selling a single card and you're just getting out of it, fine. If you want to be a legitimate dealer, reseller, business, you know, whatever you want to call it, I think that's a poor approach. I think that that brand, once that brand is, you know, if I say to you Nike and then I say to you Skechers, you have an idea in your head of what that is. Like
Absolutely.
that's exactly who Nike is. That's exactly who Skechers is. You can change your brand over time, and you can build on it, and you can adjust some things to it, and you need to over time as things change. But but the heart of it should always be there. It should. That's why most, you know, websites, of a business, one of the first things they do is they say, "This is us, and we believe in this, and we support our community this way, and we're, you know, Christian based, you know, whatever they're, this is who we are. This is our brand right in front of your face." That should always stay the same. That should be the constant, and then you move with the times from there.
Hey, I gotta tell you, Adam, one of the best things about doing the show on vacation is someone just randomly hands you a freshly made mojito.
Dude, I didn't get one. Here, look what I got. Water. But it isn't an A&W mug, so
there you go. Going back to some of your comments about feedback, shipping and handling time does matter. I would definitely say the most common comment that I get called out in my feedback is super fast shipping. So I will print the label same day or at the latest the next morning before I go to work and drop that off at the post office right away. And, you know, that means a lot to buyers from what I can see.
And once you get to the level where you can be top rated plus, you get a discount for doing that too. I
Right.
get 10% off my final value fees. So not only is that better for the customer, it's better for my brand, it helps my sales, but it saves me a little bit on my expenses.
Yeah.
And when you get to the point where you have volume every day, you can't really skip a day of shipping. It's not really a
Yep.
thing. I just you just end up with too much to do the next day.
Yeah.
So, but what's tough is when you start going on vacations and I'll be in the National for 5 days, I have to turn my store back to 3 day handling or whatever the heck it is to get through it. And it might take me, a few days to spike it back up once I get out of there. But you have to have a life too. You can't. I don't really have anybody here who can take care of the shipping or
Yep.
handle that stuff when I'm gone. I'm also a bit of a control freak, so even if I did, I don't
Yep.
think I would want that.
So
But to try to
funny you
explain to
mentioned
somebody,
that.
well, huh?
Because funny you mentioned that because I did take my shipping office mobile with me. One of my
Mhm.
Father's Day presents was a caddy specifically given to me so that I could make my business mobile. So understandably, you can't entirely do that because you have almost 30,000 listings.
Right.
I'm now a little over 800. I can bring all my listings with me
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
one card box and then a box of envelopes, some tape. I brought my printer and paper. So when I have sales in these next 4 days I'm here, I will ship them out with the same speed that I do when I'm
Mhm.
at home.
Yeah, and I think that's great, when you're small enough to be able to do that. Yeah, and you're right. I absolutely can't do that.
Yeah.
But there's no reason I can't throw it on for 3 day handling and give up my 1 day handling and my 10% discount for that
Right.
one weekend, have it shut off on Sunday, be right back to normal. And um,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's just one of those things that you kind of have to handle. We still have that
But I
camera
mean,
on.
I think with the vacation settings, the time away settings,
Hmm.
buyers know that,
Yeah,
hey, this person is out of office right now. They will ship it as soon as they're back. And I think as long as you can be upfront about that and it's not every week, it's not going to hurt your sales.
yeah, and I'm actually not as worried about the customer as I am eBay's analytics because they ding me if
Algorithm.
yeah, so it'll
That's
say like
fair.
late shipping rate and things like that. And then that can cost me my top rated seller plus, and that has some other impact. So I don't want 3 days of 200 cards,
Yeah. That's a
Um,
great point, though, because they're giving you the time away option. Shouldn't they not be holding that against you?
they do as long as I change my handling time. If I leave it as the 1 day handling time, there's no way I'll make it.
So even if you institute the time away function, you have to go in and change your handling time as well?
Correct.
See, that to me doesn't make sense. The override should be the time away, and that makes your normal standard business rules null and void. That's something
Yeah,
they have to change if that's the way they're doing it.
that sounds like it would make sense, but it doesn't. All that does is alert your customers that you're not there. It doesn't change if you get a sale what you have to do to complete that sale.
Okay.
So, but again, not that big a deal. I mean,
Right.
you're right. eBay's got a pretty decent program in place. Customers of mine are going to understand I'm at the National. It's not.
Right.
It's a pretty big norm to have a week off in July. I mean, it's not. I ship on Christmas Eve. I ship the day after Christmas. I ship.
Yeah.
Um, you gotta have some days where you're out doing some other things,
Sure.
and I'm working for the business, so um, trip write off, hotel write off, travel write off, right? So it's a solid investment in what we do, but it does take that time away, and no, I can't bring the stuff with me. And
Yeah.
honestly, I kind of don't want to. I kind of just do want a vacation from it. I'm going to be digging discount boxes for 14 hours a day. I really don't want to come home and dig through and pull more cards and ship them out. So
Right.
if that means for 5 days I hardly have any sales, then so be it. That's what an actual vacation is, right? Time away from doing what you normally do.
Right.
And that, recoup session. But yeah, anyway, to go back to the pricing thing, I think there's a lot of variables to it. And I don't, when people say, well, what should I ask for this card? And I'm like, it's not that simple. You got to decide who you are and what your brand is and how you want to ship and how much your time is worth.
And then you have the
what do
quality
you
of
pay for
the card.
supplies? I'm sorry?
Then you also have the quality of the cards. So
Right.
just not every card's going to be, near mint or better. Sometimes you're going to have an excellent or very good that, still is a really nice card, and you want to move that, and there's going to be a buyer for that. Then you have to decide what's the difference between the near mint copy and this very good copy. What is that price difference, right?
Yeah, and sometimes to just complicate things more, because why not? Sometimes for me, it depends a lot on the player too.
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
Let's say I have a 1970 Bob Lilly. Now, I know you don't do much vintage, but you will. But anyway, let's say I have a 1970 Bob Lilly, who is a all-pro player for the Cowboys, which has a huge collector base and all that. And then I've got a Joe Namath 1970, which of course everybody knows who Joe Namath is. And if the Bob Lilly's dinged up, I might drop that price more because it's not a truly sought after card. Good player, it wouldn't be a rock bottom price, but I would maybe drop that more than I would if the Joe Namath had the same wear and tear as the Bob Lilly, because Joe Namath there isn't that many cards out there printed of him. Vintage football is different than baseball. There isn't much supply.
Yeah.
So, if that Namath goes for $20 and it's got a slight crease in it or something, I might still ask 18, because there might be like 2 of them on eBay,
Yeah.
Some people
that
don't
makes
want
sense.
mint copy. Mint, oh, it's mint. Great. Now it costs you $400 for that card. Well, maybe I only want to spend $20.
Right.
So I still think I think pricing is just too individual. I think going on and looking at comps, there's nothing wrong with that. Especially a modern card where conditions should be about the same, centering should be, it's a lot easier to do apples to apples. There's probably more sales, but a lot of these cards, even this simple card here, right? This Dion that we've been talking about. I've seen sales for like $1. I've seen sales for like $5.75. What the hell do I ask? Like that still doesn't really help you. And then I look at the 99-cent dealer.
That's easy. $4.50.
Right. I look at the 99-cent seller, and it was an auction or something, right? Or the dollar seller was a guy with like 97% feedback, and it doesn't have a very good picture, or the card's damaged, or you could spend all day just looking at comps, or I could be like, well, I paid 10 cents for this. It's not a super rare insert. I have a couple copies of it. I'll ask $4, right? I'm gonna make my money on it. Once in a while, do I price something cheaper than I probably should? Yeah, but then I get a quick sale too. There's nothing wrong with that. Once in a while, it's good to offer a discount to your customers.
I guess to put a little bow on this conversation, my thought is, as a new seller, you probably need to spend more time on comps because you need to do market research. But as an experienced seller, you're going to do 100%. Much less of that.
100%. And it still depends on the card too.
Yeah, for sure.
You got a 1988 Topps Mark McGwire card. What do you think the floor and the ceiling is on that thing?
Yeah.
You're looking at $1 to maybe $2 max.
Yeah.
Unless you've got a super mint one that's going to grade PSA 10, which, by the way, don't put that in your listing. It's kind of like the really annoying thing where people list it as a prospect and it's really a rookie, or they list it as a rookie.
That's super annoying.
Well, I got a question for you on that because I was listing some baseball. I don't know if I have it quick at
Yeah.
hand, so I don't know if I'm going to grab it. But there's on Bowman cards. There's it says like prospect around the little border
Yep.
on the outside of it. Well, I have some that say prospect like that. Let me see. I don't have them in here. They're in my other. I don't know. Anyway, but some will have the little prospect around the border and it'll say first Bowman.
Yeah.
Some just have prospect and no first Bowman.
Right.
And then some will have the rookie card logo.
Yep.
And then there's another level to that because there's collectors for just the rookie cups, which is technically like a second year card.
So
it's extremely confusing. So I kind of just go with what's on the card, right? If it says prospect around the little border, I'll put prospect. If it has the first Bowman, I'll put first Bowman. If it has the rookie logo, I'll say rookie. And I leave it at that. And if it's wrong, too bad.
Yeah. So technically, this is even not cut and dry, right? Because not every card uses the RC badge. It's pretty standard now, but if you go to some older cards, it wasn't always standard, right? But I would say if it doesn't have the RC badge on it, you shouldn't be putting the RC badge on your listing or calling it a rookie. The prospects, you can be a prospect for 10 years.
I want to stop you real quick. All right. So what does it take to be considered a rookie in baseball?
In baseball, it's about service time. I think it's the number of games played in your I gotta look it up because I'm not sure if it's consecutive. I don't think it is. So if you play 25 games in the first month and a half of the season, and then you go back down for 3 weeks and you come up and play another 40 games, I think you meet that rookie qualification, and you can only hit it once. Once you hit that rookie status, you can go back to the minors for 2 years. You're not a rookie when you come back up, right?
Sure. Makes sense.
So it's all about service time. Again, I don't know the exact number. 66 out in my head for some reason. I'm not sure why. But don't quote me on that. But that's the true rookie. Now, football's got a different set of rules with it. Yep. I'm sure every sport's got their own set of rules. I'm most familiar with the baseball ones.
Do you know why I got into mostly football cards when I was a kid or when I started?
Because you didn't have to worry about that?
Correct. Because basketball was really complicated, right? So it was like 1990, 1991 Fleer. And then you had 1991 and 1992 Fleer. And I'm like, well, what the hell year was his rookie year? Is it 90-91 or 91-92? And we didn't have the internet, of course. So, there was no easy way to do that. You had to look in the books and kind of try to figure it out. And then, the baseball was like, okay, this guy's a prospect. This is a rookie. This is I remember even collecting, because I did collect a lot of Jeter stuff, and it was like, he had cards from 1993 that were rookie cards. And then he had cards from like 1996 that had rookie on it. I'm like, well, what is this? It was so confusing. I hated it. I still hate it.
It's all about the actual RC badge, though, now. So you can have like a commemorative reprint that says rookie, or you know how, like, this is a modern card for Terry Bradshaw. I mean, you wouldn't call that a vintage card, right? Well, likewise, in baseball, I could have a Mike Trout card come out this year that commemorates his rookie year. It won't have the RC badge on it. It may say rookie, but it's got to have the badge on it now, which they made it easier in that sense.
They did, and the rookie badges. But again, when we were kids, they didn't have a rookie badge.
Right. So vintage is going to be hard.
You could just print rookie on there. You had no idea.
Right.
You kind of remind me of something. A couple years ago, Topps came out with a really cool subset in baseball, and it was called Cards Your Mom Threw Away. Have you ever seen any of those?
I've heard of that. I don't think I've actually looked at it.
Yeah, there's some really cool ones. So it's like Trout rookies and Jeter rookies and stuff like that. But you're right, it doesn't have the rookie logo on it. Of course, the back is different. It says, Cards Your Mom Threw Away or whatever, and it's got a little write-up of, Jeter's rookie year, what he did for the, that kind of thing. So
Right.
it's not even like rookie verbiage or anything on there, but yeah, I would say just because I bought that big baseball box we kind of talked about last week, so I'm sort of forcing myself to go through some of the prospects because I don't buy any Bowman, I don't rip any of that stuff.
Right.
I like the big league stuff. I buy a couple little off the wall baseball products that I enjoy, and then I kind of leave it at that. And then other than I'll just buy a good chunky lot of baseball parallel rookie prospects here or there just to see if I hit a home run or get a couple prospectors in to buy some cards, and that's all I do. So
Yep.
I don't know. One thing I do know is if you don't list the card correctly on eBay, someone will message you and correct you very quickly.
Yes. Yes.
So you almost don't have to do a lot of the homework, as bad as that might sound. If you don't have the time or you don't feel like it's worth your time, someone will probably correct you. I just had somebody correct me today on a card that had an alternate hologram logo on the back. And I said it was the 1992 logo, and they said, no, it's technically still the 91 logo, but it's flipped upside down. I'm like, whatever, dude, I'm copying what you wrote here, and I'm pasting it in my description. Done. This guy's the pro. Words taken from his mouth. Correct.
So therein lies why I get kind of passionate about it. There's really two reasons. First is what determines a lot of value in cards. Well, the significance of the season, right? So you got the first Bowman, you got the rookie card, and then later on in their career, there's like record-setting years and things like that. Sure. But the values are tremendously different for those first Bowman and those rookie cards. So when I see a rookie card listing that's not really a rookie, I know there are people out there that don't know the difference. And it's misleading, and they're probably overpaying for that card, right?
Yep.
Second thing is a selfish thing, and it goes back to listings. So when I'm listing, if I'm going to grab another listing, so many of them end up, I see, saying that rookie card when they're not truly the rookie card in terms of the hobby standards, and then I got to go and edit that, and that's more work for me. So that's a selfish reason it drives me nuts as well, because if those listings out there are inaccurate, then I got to spend extra time finding one that is, or drafting one, from scratch myself. And it goes back to one of our number one rules is you have to account for the time you spend in this business.
Why don't they just make their first damn card a rookie card and be done with it? Right?
Because baseball
is so different. A prospect and then a first Bowman and then they're creating something that honestly I don't really give a shit about. If it just said rookie on their first card, I'd be fine with that. Every other sport does it that way.
Yeah, it's just the way the farm system works. Like every spring, you're gonna have images with the major league club's jersey on. You're going to get a cup of coffee for 3 weeks while somebody's on the DL and then go back down for 2 years sometimes. Sure. So baseball is just so different the way their development system works. It's so huge.
Can't they just say like whatever is the first card that's a rookie card and then that's it? Like so let me ask you this. So let's say Ohtani comes into the bigs as a hitter, but he doesn't pitch at all. Mm-hmm. And then 2 years down the road, he starts pitching. How does he get another rookie card as a pitcher?
Position doesn't matter. Yeah,
I know.
Position does not. Nice try, but position doesn't matter.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from, but I'm assuming you can kind of get where I'm coming from too. Where it's like, okay, the confusion is there, but did I create the confusion?
No, you didn't.
It's been there, and clearly you've seen that with a lot of other listings. And I'm fairly careful with mine, and no, I would never put rookie. I was kind of playing with you the other day. I would never put rookie on there if it didn't have the rookie logo. Now, when it starts getting to some of the older cards, which you'll see in a minute here that I got out of some of those lots, I don't know if I'd have to really do the due diligence and
and that's just it. The due diligence needs to be done. Now, is an honest mistake going to happen sometimes? Absolutely. I had one myself on 87 Topps Tiffany set. I misunderstood which
Yeah,
ones were the
that's right.
Tiffany and which ones were not. A
Yep.
buyer corrected me on it. He was absolutely right. I made the fix, right?
Yep. Yeah, so like for example, this is one of the cards I got in my big 1,500 card lot. It's a Dylan Bundy rookie. It's got
Which
the
I
badge
have a
on.
1/1 platinum for Dylan Bundy. If anyone is a Dylan Bundy fan, let me know.
Got the rookie logo on it. So this would be like, okay, this guy's played 50 cards. This guy's played 50 games. He can have a rookie card. So now if I want his first Bowman, now I have to kind of rewind 2 years before and try to find the first Bowman.
Yep.
And then there's also possibly a prospect card, correct?
Yeah, there can be multiple prospect cards depending on how long he was in the
Now,
minors.
what about minor league?
That's all prospects.
So that
everything in the minors is a prospect.
So if I have, so if I have like an Appleton Fox's Alex Rodriguez, yes, I did see him play here in 1991.
Yeah.
92. Anyway, and I got a minor league card of him, and then I would list that as minor league prospect.
Prospect. Yep. Mariners prospect. Yep.
Interesting.
Now the first Bowman is just their first branded card, I guess I would say, because sometimes the minor league clubs may do a promotion where they do, their own printing of one. So the first Bowman is the first major brand card, is how I would explain it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I get it. Hopefully that clarifies it for anybody else that was kind of wondering how it works if you're not really into the baseball card game too much. But yeah, it's tough. I mean, I start looking at like first Trout cards and it's like 2009. What the heck? The guy didn't. So like, for example, I got a 2012 Sports Illustrated for Kids Trout card. Now they don't put a rookie logo on any of their stuff.
No.
But that would technically be a rookie card. It was in his first year.
It would. Yep.
So now I can put rookie on there even though there isn't a rookie badge. And I did. I'm not going to miss putting an RC on a Trout rookie.
And I think that's fair because that's an off-brand card. That's not a major brand card. SI for Kids, their business is not making cards. It is magazines,
Right.
So I would be okay with that because you've done your due diligence. Hey, 2012 was the year he hit his rookie requirements. Or did I say 2021? I meant 2012. It's the Mojito talking. But yeah, so then I rewind back to the thing you said. You got to do your due diligence. If you do that, I have no problem with you listing rookie on something that doesn't have the badge because it could be some other off-brand that doesn't use that badge.
Right. So, what is Boba Fett's rookie card?
Ooh, so that would have been out of the 82 Empire set? 1980 Empire. Was it 80? Yeah.
But
you're right.
He has 4 cards in that set, so which one's the rookie? Or are they all rookies?
They would all be rookies. Because they all came out at the same time, right?
They did. But I've seen that before in sets like nowadays it's a little different because they'll put the RC on like their base card and their insert card and stuff like that. But
that's fine.
Back in the day. So let's say you got an 89 Griffey Topps and there was an 89 Griffey first round draft pick card or something like that also in the set. Only one was considered a rookie. The other was just like an insert or parallel or whatever.
Yeah, I've heard some purists in the hobby say that. I don't agree with that. Like, any Mike Trout card you have for his 2012 season, that should be a rookie card.
Yeah, that's kind of where I see it too. And I'm going to put an RC on there. I'm not going to check with Charlie. I'm just going to do it. And Charlie's going to have to do good with that.
And I'm just going to send you a message that says, stop it.
What the hell are you doing? Well, I got the okay from you now, so I made sure I cleared that one, on live air, because you can't go back on that now. I got it recorded, so kind of toast there. All All right, so our other topic was sourcing. Do we want to do that, or do we want to start looking at show and share? We kind of
You know,
talked a little bit about.
looks like we're what, an hour and a half in. I think
Yep.
we've talked about sourcing at times before. We can probably do some show and tell if you want.
Is there any other topics you wanted to get into this week? I know you had mentioned some stuff to me uh, in our chat, and to be honest with you, I didn't write any of it down, so
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
have to refresh my memory.
And I was hustling so much with the technical issues here. I
Mhm.
didn't really talk about those. I know one was about refractors,
Mhm.
listing refractors. I know I wanted to pose the question: rainbow or no rainbow on the image. So I personally, when I list a refractor card, I want to make it a point to show some of that rainbow refracted in the card when I list it, but that compromises the purity of the image a little bit too. So I can see how some people, yeah, exactly. So I want to get an angle that shows a little bit of that rainbow of color that
Yep.
shows the light being refracted. But I see other listings where it's totally flat, crystal clear image, but no refracting takes place in it. So my philosophy has always been, if I say this is a refractor, I want to give them some visual proof of that.
Yeah, I say screw those people with a flat, no flashy photo.
Okay.
They're losing a huge opportunity. This is
Yeah.
literally a photo of this card, so it's not any kind of deception. Okay, here's my take on the photography, because we go round and around with this. I've done this with other people. You need to get a scanner. No, I don't want a damn scanner. I understand that it helps for the speed. I wouldn't mind that part so much, but I don't like the
Right.
photo. Because to me, trading cards are a form of art, right? Like our parents bought
Agreed.
paintings to hang on the walls and things like that. We buy little cardboard pictures of men. It's weird as hell, but that's
Yep.
our modern art form. To me, it's what it looks like is what matters. What it looks like. I don't care what it looks like on a stupid scanner. I'm not going to have it on a scanner on display in my house. It's going to be on a shelf where people can look at it. This
Right.
is what this looks like. Is that what you want? Is that what you're looking to buy? Is that your goal for this purchase? Is to have something that looks like this, or do you want? And honestly, the scanned image is the one that's deceptive,
Right.
because that's not what it actually looks like. That's what it looks
Right.
like on some optic eye of some data machine. But this is what it looks like to the human eye, which is who's buying the card.
And think about, if you're looking at a stack of cards and you just see the little edges peek out of there, what gets you excited?
Right.
When you see a flash color in there,
Well,
right?
you can watch 1,000 unboxing videos. Where does everybody stop, right? So you got your pack, you've got your 8 cards in your pack, and they immediately flip back to, oh, we got some color here. Oh, we've got purple border. Oh, we've got, look at that. Oh, it's a rookie purple.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't understand wanting to take away the eye appeal when you're doing something.
yeah, the art of
And
that
you're
prism,
selling art.
the way it catches the light. Like,
Yeah.
why would you not want to highlight that, right?
I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand the scanner thing. Other than speed, I have no, the cost of it. It still takes you time. You got to stay in the front. You got to stay in the back. You got to batch everything. You still have to, if you're doing it for Car Dealer Pro and if you're just trying to do volume and it's saving you time, it totally makes sense. I 100% get it.
Yeah.
But I don't need to double my inventory every 3 months. It's not a goal of mine. I don't do this for a living. I'd rather, hey, I got some downtime right now. I got a stack of these. I'd rather sit down and list those and just kind of build my store over time. And
Yeah.
doing a whole bunch of listings at one time doesn't necessarily benefit you either. That's let's say you like my store, you follow my store, and you're notified anytime I list something. Let's say I had 10,000 new listings. How many of those are you really going to dig through and look at as a perspective?
Right.
You're almost throwing too much volume at it at one time. Yeah, I don't know. That the scanning thing just doesn't do it for me. I want to see, when I buy cards, I want to see what does that damn card look like
Yeah.
with my eyes.
And I get it.
You
The
know?
speed and ease of it is very tempting. But I, like you, like the eye appeal of a card. And I don't feel as good about that card if it's just a flat image with no shine to it,
Well, and
no
how do you know they scanned it, right? It could be a
right,
stock. It could be a copy from somebody else. Like if I take a picture with my phone of this card, it's not going to be somebody else's photo. So
yeah,
I don't know. I just, for my brand, I like to have a photo of the front and the back of every single card.
yep,
Unless it's ultra modern and I have copies, and I'm not going to list 20 Donruss based Tom Brady's and have quantity listing.
right,
Anyway, outside of that, yes, you're going to get what you're looking at on the screen. And I haven't found any reason to change that other than buying. Now, that being said, let's say you want to throw up a chunk of listings just to get some new eyes on it, so get on the new listings list a little bit. Do your end listing and your sell envelopes. List, a whole bunch of a couple hundred items at one time because they're
right,
all there, they're ready badged. And then, yes, it's not new inventory, I understand that, but at least it gives you, if you want some bulk listings to go up, you can do that in between the time where you're taking your time listing each individual card, to, in my opinion, get it correct,
right.
or to do it the best way. So, kind of an interesting topic. I don't think there's a right or wrong. You got to do what works for you, and you got to look at your brand. And, are you just pushing a bunch of cards out really fast, or are you trying to get max value out of them, trying to provide, A+ customer service? You have to really figure out your goals and tie that to that. Now, going back to the scanning thing, a good scanner is going to cost you a few $100, and then if you're going to one of those turbo listing programs, Card Dealer Pro or whatever, that's another like 80 or $100 a month or something like that. So I don't want to spend that on it either. Like I'm fine just growing my store by 200-300 cards a day, couple days, whatever, and doing that on my own time and not paying for the extra speed. So that's part of it too. For my budgeting, the price I pay for this monthly for the store, I believe is worth it for the 60,000 listings. And I generally cover off of that by doing my auctions. I list my 500 Farv base cards, I sell them in chunks, I ship those out, and then that pays my $60 short pretty much every day. It's kind of interesting. It almost ends exactly at the $60 that I need to pay.
Right.
So to me, I'm not really paying that fee. I'm just using kind of some stores sitting around inventory that I'm shipping out, and that covers that cost. So,
right.
Speaking of fees and getting the cost down in supply, did you get? I think I sent you for the 4,000 label.
I did. First, I have to get a thermal printer that meets my expectations.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Yeah, because 1.4 cents, that's one of the best deals I've ever found.
Yeah.
I usually buy, it's that same label, but I usually buy like a 2,000 pack because I was getting lightning deals on them and stuff.
Right.
They didn't have anything on this month. It's like $32 normal price. And then I saw the 4,000 count, which of course is twice the supply, for $57. I'm like, ooh, that's a good deal.
Yeah.
So yeah, I placed an order for those right now this morning. Do I direly need labels right now? No, but am I gonna need labels?
I also saw you cleaning out the Walmart shelves of envelopes the other day.
I did, yes. I don't know if you can see my stack, but it has grown. This is my envelope stack right here.
Yep.
This is tall as me. Probably have about 45 boxes right now. And I just try to buy them when I see them. Some of those I couldn't buy because some of the peel and stick ones are expensive, and I don't think it's worth the price to buy the peel and stick. Bo and I are a little different on this one. Actually, a bunch of the low-end sellers like the peel and stick.
Yeah.
First of all, if I have to look a little bit of an envelope, I don't really care. I don't have to seal it that good. I'm putting the sticker over it anyway. And the difference in price is huge. It's like $1.67 for the lick envelopes, and it's like $3 something, I think, for the peel and stick.
Right.
So I'm like, I don't want to pay 3 times the price just to have them. And I actually think the peel and stick are kind of annoying. You have more ways, right? Because you got that little paper you got to peel off. And I'm emptying my garbage can like 3 times a week from label, paper and stuff. And I think it's more cumbersome. So you got your envelope, and then you got to open it up. You got to peel that tape off. You got to be careful because it's sticky. So now you got to get your card in the envelope around kind of the sticky, and then you do that, and then get rid of the paper. I can just go done. To me, I feel like I got more speed and stuff with it too. But so that's my take on envelopes. I like cheap supplies. I don't want my money to go into that.
Yeah. So valid points. I started with regular envelopes. I am right now using the peel and stick ones. I'm still up in the air on if I will continue with that. I don't find an issue with trying to avoid the sticky piece. If I was using, I think the decision for me would be easier if I could consistently use the thermal labels, because I think you have a great point that when you wrap that around, you're sealing it anyway. So if I had that humming, I would absolutely use regular envelopes moving forward. If I were to stay with the label operation I have right now, I'd have to give it more thought because I do absolutely hate licking the envelopes, and that's just a personal preference.
There's a way around licking the envelope too. You can buy like wetters, and they're not very expensive. You can get a decent sized wetter for I don't know, like $2, $2.50, and it lasts for thousands of envelopes. Heck, you could just take like a damp ray, or wipes. Wipes would work. You could find another way to do it where you're not licking it. I haven't found it to be that. I have my jug of water in here in my little fridge, and I drink that in the morning when I'm filling orders, and I lick my envelopes. Then the Walmart ones don't taste that good.
They're kind of fruity. Here's the other thing. I guess I'm convincing myself right now is I'm taping the labels on anyway, so I don't really have to lick them if I think about it a little bit more, because my packing tape is going to seal it shut anyway.
Right, and even with the thermal labels, you still wouldn't have to lick them shut either. You can literally just put the card in, fold it over, put the sticker on it. Now, I like that little bit of extra seal, so I do lick it.
Is there any caloric value in that?
Huh?
Is there any caloric value in that?
I don't know. Probably like 1/1 millionth of a calorie.
Any nutrients in there?
Let's put it this way, Charlie. I'm sure I do calories. So I'm not trying to find value in my
Good point.
To me, it's really funny that people get such a big deal out of looking at it. I've been doing that for my entire career, working in banks. Constantly have to seal envelopes and stuff out. If you're doing a huge bulk, you're doing 10,000 pieces of color, you probably don't want to follow. But for 20, 30 cards a day, and to pay 3 times the price just to fill in the stick paper.
You probably sold me.
It isn't worth it.
When I run out of these ones, I will probably just get standard envelopes.
If you can find them.
Wait, I got to get it in at Walmart so I know when to get there before you do.
Yeah, well, randomly we went to the De Pere Walmart and I did something for Luna, and I always, whenever, I don't go to Walmart. Actually, I don't go to stores at all. I have everything delivered. But it was a specific thing, it was a piece of clothing, and she had to try it on and all that. So we went there for that, and I'll check their shipping supply, I'm sure they don't have anything. They had a ton, so
Right.
Yeah, I had to send you a picture of my cart because
Yeah, rub it in.
it's like, yeah, victory. It's harder to find that stuff than it is plastic bottles.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, they go
Envelopes
fast,
are,
especially when
yeah.
you're filling a grocery cart every time you go in and see them.
Well, the thing is you gotta buy them. If I don't, somebody else can get them. My goal would be that, okay, well, if I clean the shelf off, somebody should be checking and saying, hey, we need more envelopes. And the
Right.
store should be, actually, I don't even think they have to do that. I'm guessing it was on inventory. It should say, hey, we need a truck of envelopes. It should just cause them to stop. If people are buying them, what are they doing? Well, keep stocking.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but I really hate going there to buy them. I find them at a bit. You just can't, especially with shipping charges. So they come up.
Honestly, I can't say I've ever enjoyed going to Walmart.
Yeah, it's not. But like I said, I've got like 45 boxes or so of these right now. But you get 100 in here for $1.60. It's 1.6 cents. Actually, it's very good. Any place cheaper. And it's that Pen Beer brand or whatever. And I've even tried to like find it online. If you get your order from that, well, I've tried like Uline, which is a shipping supply company. By the time you have to pay for shipping and handling, you just can't get a deal.
Right. Yeah, if that's the case, I mean, you got to do what you got to do. If you got to go get, a hot cart of envelopes every time Walmart restocks, that's what you got to do.
Well, let's put it this way: do you ever want to shop in the store because you don't have envelopes? That sounds terrible. So I just don't take that risk. No, I might not go to a Walmart for 3 weeks. And then at that point, I might stop at a Walmart and they have no envelopes. So work through most of that. If you're selling 100 cards a day, that's a lot.
That's a good problem to have if you're having a shortage of envelopes.
Right, exactly. But it is and it isn't. You still got to go find it.
Right.
Yeah.
But it also means you're having a heck of a lot of volume.
Exactly. Correct. Well, we do volume.
That's right.
For sure. All right. Let's. We're at 147. So maybe let's do some show and share.
All right.
I was gonna call it show and tell, but since my little was on like 4K, they always call it show and share because telling is
that's right.
So it's pretty interesting that that's kind of like the version of show and tell, I guess. I don't know. We always call it show and tell. Then at that point, you're not supposed to tell someone. It's show and share, which actually does sound better. Can't disagree with it. Now, every time I show and share, just all right, I'm gonna let you go first.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, so I did a little more travel recently for work and had a lot of time in layovers in airports. And what are you going to do when you're sitting in an airport? You're going to browse eBay for some lots, right?
I do that if I'm sitting on the
toilet. We probably don't need to know that, Adam.
Oh, rewind that.
Right. So I was sitting in an airport just shopping lots, trying to find something. I came across a lot of, I don't have my laptop open right now to see exactly what it was. It was 340 or 360 2021 and 2022 Panini mosaics, vets and inserts. And I ended up getting it for about 20 cents a card, which I want to keep working on that to do a little better. But I look at it in perspective. When I first got into this, man, more often than not, I was still paying a buck a card at the dollar box, right? Like I hadn't yet really focused on the art of volume buying and negotiation. And so for me, $20 a card, that's a great improvement. I'm not
20
satisfied
cents
yet.
maybe?
Yeah, 20 cents a card. I feel like I'm moving in the right direction. I'm not content yet, but it shows me that I'm making some progress. I'm learning some of the lessons. I'm exercising some of the skills I learn in this. Side note, I had a side-by-side dealer put my name on a sales order today for a used side-by-side, a 2018 Can-Am Maverick Trail, which we're
Nice.
excited about. But in the negotiation for it, I'm using the tactic of just let this simmer a little bit. Let's just be quiet a little bit. He knows where I want to be. I know where he wants to be. Let's just let the air breathe a little bit. And my wife, who I love to death, steps up and says, I think we're good. I think we're going to take it. Right, Charlie? So negotiation over. Dealer got what he wanted on it.
Yeah, and what the wife wants,
yeah. So, go ahead.
I used to go over the same thing with my wife at conventions. You know, it's all these like small-time dealers selling toys and stuff like that. The dealer would have, you know, sticky note on it, $20 for this action figure. And she'd go up and hand him $20. What the hell are you doing? He's like, well, it says $20. I'm like, that's not what you pay. You offer him 18, or you buy figures or toys or whatever. And yeah, it's interesting how my brain works that way. It doesn't for everyone.
She actually said to me, well, I didn't understand, like, there was this moment where nothing was happening. And I'm like, that was part of the negotiation. Like, you gotta let it sit a little bit.
That's funny.
All right, so back to cards. So I pulled the trigger on this lot. And lesson I learned, look at the details a little bit. After I paid for the lot, I'm looking at it again, and all of a sudden I see examples. These are example cards, not the exact ones you'll get. And suddenly I freaked out. I'm like, oh gosh, what did I just do? So there was a brief moment where I said, do I need to quickly try and cancel this order? But then I said, you know what? I looked at this guy's feedback. I feel like there's a good chance this is a good seller, and this is going to be a good lot. So I let it ride. Figured at end of if it goes bad, I learned a lesson, right?
Sure.
So I did get that delivered this week, and I was pretty happy with the lot. So like I said, 340, 360 cards. Probably 80 to 100 were quarterbacks, and it's all football, so we know quarterbacks are where it's at, right?
That's the money.
Yeah. So stack of Mahomes here. We got a Men of Mastery.
Nice.
Yep. A couple of different years of Men of Mastery. So here's another one. A Will to Win insert. Another year's Will to Win insert. Trying to get the right place for these. Nothing was a base card. Well, I take that back. There are a few base cards, but the vast majority were prisms or inserts. So here's a prism, Will to Win.
Nice.
And then here's a couple of base cards that came up after I said no base cards, but there really were a couple. But it's the minority on this.
Well, if it's Mahomes as your base cards, you're fine.
Right. Stairmasters, an MVP. So right away I was like, oh, that feels pretty good. A few Justin Fields. So again, a prism.
Nice.
Here's an orange prism, orange reactive, I think we call that.
Correct.
Sorry, I got the bugs coming out now. So if you see me twitch a little bit, it's because I'm getting Mothra off my back. Here's a montage. Got quite a few of these montage cards for different players.
Nice.
Some legend players. So got some Marino in there. Hall of Fame, Stairmasters, Marino, and then Prism and Marino as well. Who else did I get? I got some Justin Herbert. I got some couple of Trevor Lawrence. Again, Will to Win. So I felt pretty good. You know, Jalen Hurts, Prism. Some cool vintage players too. Trying to find it right now. There was an Archie Manning. Well, here's a Roger Staubach that came through. Hall of Fame. A lot of these touchdown masters. This is a Lamar Jackson touchdown masters, but a lot of those came through. Here's another good vintage player that I like to see. A Prism Len Dawson.
Nice.
So it's a good mix of guys who have current hobby. A lot of Peyton Mannings came through, so there's a Prism Peyton Manning. But also some like club legends, you know, like the Len Dawson, Hall of Famers. Oh, here's the Archie Manning, a center stage Archie Manning. So I don't see that a whole lot. Yeah, a bunch of Terry Bradshaws. I showed some of those before. Here's a Dan Fouts Prism. So vintage, I thought, yeah. So in the end, I really felt like, here's a Justin Herbert touchdown masters, Thunder Lane insert Prism. So I feel pretty good about this set. Center stage Eli Manning Prism. So as you can see, lots of color in here. Then of course there's Mr. Tom Brady. Got a stack of Brady's in there.
Nice.
Yeah, so men of history. Yeah, some base. This is actually a Super Bowl logo card. So even though it's pretty much a base. What else do we get?
5 base cards in that set.
I always like these stars and stripes base cards too. I just think that's classy. Here we go. A green Prism Will to Win Brady.
Nice.
So anytime I see that color, I'm feeling pretty good. Got a few players with these flea flicker cards where it has the quarterback and the receivers. So there's a Brady one of that. As I said, a few montage. So there's a Brady montage. That is, probably just a quarter of the quarterbacks class that I got. Got some Josh Allen in there. Nice. Got some Joe Montana in there. Drew Brees, Tua, Matthew Stafford. Got that in there. Dak Prescott. What else we got here? Some Jim Kelly. So I kind of have a soft spot for Jim Kelly and the Bills.
I do too.
Yeah. So got some center stage in there. So when I look at this lot, so if you go on from there, I could probably got another equal stack of receivers and tight ends. Kelsey's, Jamar Chase, a lot of guys like that. Got some Gronks in there. Little smaller stack of running backs. Got some Barry Sanders in there. I didn't bring those out to show, nice. But always good to get Barry Sanders. Got some Bo Jackson vintage players. I sent you one of those. I forget which one that was, but yeah. And then a little bit of defensive players, which they typically don't have a lot of hobby, but these defensive players were well-known names: Lawrence Taylor, Charles Woodson, guys like that. That I feel like there's enough hobby in there that I'll be able to make something out of that. Out of everything that really didn't have hobby, there was maybe a handful of offensive linemen, which as a former offensive lineman and a lineman coach, I like those. That's more for my personal collection. And I actually got 2 versions of a kicker. Jung-Ho Koo for the Houston Texans. Yeah, I thought that was an interesting ad in that collection. So I got a couple of prisms of him. Nice. To round out the set. So I know those won't help me a lot in my store, but as someone who appreciates the cards, it was nice to see that as well. So, I feel like probably 90% of this lot is going to turn in my store at some point.
Yeah, and you have the names that sell. You've got parallels, which always helps. I think Mosaic
Yep.
is slightly underrated as far as like quality and coolness of cards, but it gets
Yeah.
overprinted, so that kind of hurts it a little bit.
Got
But
Elway as well. I didn't choose
on a
those.
Prism, on a nice Elway, on a Prism insert of green Prism insert of Patrick Mahomes, I would ask $8 to $10 for that card. So
Okay.
if you paid 20 for that whole lot, you got half your money right there with that one card. So I
Exactly.
don't think you did poorly by any chance.
And what I really, what stands out at me on this lot is I really took a chance. Once I saw the word examples, I could have cut bait and ran.
Yep.
But we talk about the feedback, and I looked at the feedback and was like, I'm gonna let this ride because I feel like this is a legit seller who's got good feedback and wants to do the right thing. He's selling good cards. I'm gonna see what I get, and I feel like it's gonna pay off in the end. I think I got a good lot here.
Well, and honestly, as long as he was honest in what his examples were, you still have a pretty good idea what you're going to get.
Right.
If the examples say, Mosaic parallel cards and you get a box of, 1991 Fleer baseball, which is the worst set ever created, that's not, those examples are inaccurate. So you're right. Looking at his brand and his feedback and his seller status and all those kinds of things helped your decision.
Absolutely.
You can also look at how many of those lots sold. I'll do that sometimes. If it's multiple lots, I'll open it and I'll say, 62 sold or whatever. And, if there's great feedback on that seller and they sold 62 lots, you're probably going to be fine.
Yep.
So I kind of took a dip. My lot's actually a little bit of a different approach. I looked at somebody who's not a regular seller and was looking to get rid of some things and doesn't even use eBay to do the postage. So it's kind of interesting. We were on, kind of bought the same types of things, but a little different side of the fence.
See it. What you got?
All right. I'll show you some of the bigger stuff. So I bought a 1,500 plus card lot. No, I never counted the cards. Whatever, I don't really care. And there's definitely some like dime and quarter box cards in here, which is fine. I'm still filling those boxes, getting ready for the next show. But plenty of numbered cards, jersey cards, parallels, autos, things like that. So I kind of showed this one earlier, so I'll just get this one out there right away. This is an Isaiah Quiltier purple rookie. So again, it sort of forces me to buy something I don't normally buy. Like, you know what? This is a nice parallel rookie card. I'll throw a guy in the store and see how it does. Call to Arms, Jared Goff. I was laughing at this when I pulled this card out of the box because I was like, Jared Goff, nobody buys Jared Goff. I sold 2 Jared Goff cards in the last 2 days. So don't sleep on Jared Goff.
That's
now
like
look at this thing. Look at this thing. Nice chunky patch, auto.
Yeah.
Numbered to 10. Now, not a big name, but he is a bear. So this is Jeremy Langford. But Cubs finest refractor, nice thick, game used, 3-color patch. His mom will buy this card.
That's right. You gotta cater to the mom.
Right. Here's a Devontae Adams gold out of 150 from Legacy. So you got the nice color match there. It's numbered out of 150.
Oh yeah.
Probably
okay.
Not. You'll have to take my word for it, I guess.
Serial number there.
Yep. I got a Damian James auto, the Donruss Basketball 2016, and that's numbered out of 399. Damian Hazelton Jr. auto out of Score, not numbered. Quiddy Pay, which is what's ironic about this. We're talking about Ryan. This is he's an offensive.
Yep.
But I've sold a whole bunch of his autos, anywhere from $10 to $20. So
What's that
number? Kind of happy to see that actually.
What's his jersey number?
19.
Yeah, that's not an offensive lineman.
But that's with Michigan.
I don't know. No self-respect would wear a 19. Maybe a tight end.
Michigan defensive end. It says right there.
Okay.
Defensive end.
All right.
But still, defensive ends don't exactly get a lot.
They don't. No defensive players really do.
Here's a red parallel Javon Curse, numbered out of 299.
The freak. I like it.
Legend. Julian Edelman. All hands team, the blue parallel.
There you go.
This one's cool. This is Juju Smith-Schuster gold out of 50. They got the uniform patch there. You got gold. I've sold some of the sport stuff actually sells pretty well.
Yeah.
Here's Jahi, I believe is how you pronounce it. Chrome auto. This one is bigger than you'd think it is. This is a fireman jersey, but it's the variation from that little.
Yep.
I don't know if you can see the V.
Yep, you can see it.
These do variation ones pretty well. I've sold some other, like, let's just call them generic players for $7-8. So not bad. I got this Rashad Bateman jersey auto
Okay.
out of Legacy, I believe. Yep. And that's numbered out of 399.
There you go.
See down there. I got this Allen and Gipper.
Like it.
Yeah, anytime you get I got this Eric Dickerson Legends.
Sweet.
Those are the refractor people, I guess. So.
Got some ED in my lot too. It was good to see.
Yeah. Eric Dickerson, man. That was something. All right, let's see what else we got.
I still remember the goggles. That's what always sticks out to me.
Right, yeah. Like, are we playing football or going swimming? No, that's like 15 cards. Out of, so the good cards I pulled out of that lot probably have 2 stacks of maybe 400 cards. So I got about 800 good quality cards out there, not dime cards. This Austin Sephiron Jenkins rookie, Topps Finest, numbered out of 25.
ASJ.
Those are, like, no one's going to list this. This will literally be where it's going on eBay.
And if someone,
believe it or not, that can be a big advantage.
Yeah. And if someone's looking for that guy, they're going to want to look for one of the better cards.
Right. Brandon Ayuk, rookie, but this is the field level, so it's the upper parallel. Jeff Okuda, purple, he had a select. Let's see what else we got here. Jacob Eason, AJ Terrell, rookie purple. Got a lot more numbers there. Isaiah Simmons, this is the white.
Color. Lack of color.
Yeah. Cole Kmat, purple. This is the field level. Rare Blair, purple. Jedrick Willis, purple. Let's see, got a Derek White, orange reactive.
There you go.
Dwayne Jarrett, jersey for the Panthers, upper deck. A gold Tiki Barber,
Tiki.
Yeah. Here's another one of those contenders, but it's the variation photo one again. Let's see. There was a lot of score in there, so obviously that was like dime cards, but there's a ton of these silver scorecard cards. Watch for these.
All right.
There are literally collectors who just collect score scorecards, and they've had for years. And they sell really well. It doesn't even matter that much. So there's a James Winston scorecard. I got a Dansby Swanson out of Finest. So here's a Deion Sanders scorecard. I literally just sold these the other day for $4.50. So they sell pretty well, even though it's just a cheap score parallel.
Cowboys, 49ers, or Falcons, Dion?
This is the Cowboys on this one. I got tons of Joy D, just base cards and stuff, tons of far. You're gonna like this one. I got a game worn jersey of Mr. Anderson, Mr. Golden Feet.
Nice.
So this might have to just go with these. It's just too cool.
Is that with the Yankees?
Yeah, with the Yankees. So it's a Yankees jersey, which is cool. Jason Hayward rookie. Sonny Gray, Team USA rookie. Eric Hosmer, rookie.
Nice. I heard he just got DFA'd.
Yeah, well, Jake Arrieta rookie. That one's a big one for me personally. San Antonio Holmes, longevity starter down there somewhere in the bottom.
Nice. That was one thing missing from mine, is I did not get more than a couple of serial numbered cards.
Yeah, and normally I don't have very many, so it's kind of exciting to find a lot that has.
Yeah, you're getting quite a few.
James Harden,
The beard.
Yeah. Alright, let's see what else we got. I'll get into some of this stuff. You'll like this stuff a little bit better. So I've got that Dylan Bundy, I showed you that rookie. Chris Sale rookie, tops.
Nice.
Addison Russell rookie out of Hilliard. Andrew Benintendi rookie out of 10. Jose Abreu tops rookie.
All right.
Kind of going back to the balls. Josh Donaldson rookie.
Wow.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. Another Dylan Bundy. I guess. I got 3 Orlando Arcia rookies. Or Arcia rookies. He plays for some scrub team with an M on it.
He used to. I think Atlanta now.
Yes. But I got one that's
Dude is having the best year of his career right now.
Well, yeah, because he left Milwaukee. That's how it goes when Cubs players leave, usually, too.
Yeah.
Max Fried rookie. It's a Shelby Miller rookie. Here's another rookie. Optic. This one was cool. Aldous Chapman rookie. I don't know who this guy is, but Mike Fultonowicz.
Fultonowicz? Yeah.
Fultonowicz. This one's really cool. Manny Machado rookie.
Yep.
Top.
Got it.
Addison Russell rookie. Jonathan Schuch rookie. Correa rookie. Another Machado rookie.
That Correa might be an image variation too, actually.
Might be. Yeah, I'll have to look. Baseball cards.
I would say
too much stuff going on.
I've seen that one looking at image variations before.
Yeah. Francisco Lindor rookie. Gary Sanchez rookie. Brian Anderson rookie. I don't know if this guy's
He's a serviceable major leaguer, yep.
Okay. Here's a here's another Raul Mondesi.
Haven't seen him in a while.
Another Ahmed with the cool fringy cut border.
Yeah, and what's written on there?
I believe it's facsimile auto.
Okay.
And then it's the blank back, just the name on the bottom. This one's cool. Dustin Pedroia Gorilla Tops Crown out of 50. 50. I don't know if you can see that. Zach Wheeler Green out of 99. Torrey Hunter Purple out of 250.
There you go.
Kyle Seager Blue out of 150. Here's a Zach Greinke.
Nice.
Which is pretty
Doyer.
cool. Huh?
The Doyers.
Yeah. Fernando Venezuela. But that was pretty cool.
I recently got a lot of Fernando. I thought I would relive Fernando Mania. I haven't listed any of them yet.
Got a few sport kings. These are kind of
Yeah.
I buy those in lots of athletes in different sports. Like this is a rugby star. Blue parallel besides. This one I've sold because this is world champion arm wrestler.
Okay.
So those are pretty cool. The sweet score, very sweet.
Nice.
Another sport king is my hand. Let's see. Got a bunch of these, like Ripken Topps tribute cards. Came out one year. Yeah, probably dozens of those. So this one's really cool. It's Jimmy from Old Durham. But it's an actual Topps. This was an actual release.
Yeah.
So
that's sweet.
Some more Joey B. Aaron Rodgers. Here's a Bryce Harper rookie.
Very nice.
Here's your shield. Okay, Charlie. It's on.
Hey, baby. RC.
I'm listing it as a rookie. Joey B. Joe Burrow starts extremely well.
Yeah.
This one's got Marcus Mariota of Topps Finest.
Yeah, die cuts are still pretty hot.
Todd Gurley, same set. CJ Spiller, X Fractor, hello.
Okay.
Amir Abdullah, Refractor. This is hard to see. The number's like very on the card there.
I thought he was a bomb when he came out of college.
Numbered out of 250. Yeah. This one's a really nice one. Julian Edelman. Numbered out of 60. Oof. Blue parallel. This red Robert Woods. This red parallel.
Receiver.
Not numbered. I'll do one more little stack. One more little stack.
All right.
Are you getting like fuzzy audio?
Not at all. Everything's pristine.
Okay. When I talk, I get like a fuzzy feedback or something. I don't know. Is anybody in the? I don't know if anybody's watching anymore, but let us know if you're hearing that. Kelvin Benjamin. This one's not too bad. Derek Carr.
Bugs flying around my phone right now.
It's only after I talk. After I talk, then there's like a buzz. So,
all right.
Derek Carr, Topps Chrome mini rookie. Okay. I mean, he's a legit quarterback. Golden Tate, Atomic rookie. And look at how cool these cards are. You got to get top to back in the game. CJ Spiller again, rookie. This one, I'm big on this. I don't do very well. Tim Tebow, Topps Finest rookie. Yeah, T-ball stuff does extremely well. Donald Brown, Woman's Best? No, Topps Platinum Refractor. This one's a good one. Topps Chrome Rookie James Winston.
There you go.
This one's good too. Melvin Gordon, Topps Chrome Rookie. Sold a few of his cards. Don Cooper, Using Stars. This is the Topps Chrome Rookie. Or Topps. Is that Platinum? I don't know what's that. Because here's the Topps Chrome Rookie I have. I like this one. Khalil Mack, Topps Chrome Rookie. I think Khalil Mack is pretty damn good.
He's amazing.
Zach Wheeler. This guy, Tom Brady.
Never heard of him.
Never heard of him. He's another Manny rookie out of Allen and Gibson.
Yep.
A Boston Posey out of rookie.
Okay.
Not bad. Madison Bumgarner rookie. Reese Hoskins Topps rookie.
Good. You definitely got some inside of that lot.
Yeah. This one I really like. Kyle Schwarber, Team USA rookie. The parallel.
Love it.
Pretty rare card. Same with this one, the Stars and Stripes. Crusade, Kyle Schwarber rookie.
Stuart, what do you think of Schwarbs?
There's a baseball on the top of Wrigley that I disagree with you.
Yeah.
There's a Dansby Swanson again. Another Jason Hayward rookie. The Giancarlo Stanton, but it's still press proof.
Nice.
Pretty rare. Bobby Delbeck and Mountcastle. Rookie. Alex Bregman, Topps Chrome Refractor. Not sure who this guy is, but it's numbered out of 49, so that's kind of nice. Bailey Orr.
Yep, I remember him.
This one I really like. This kind of stuff. This is the Topps Blue Guard
Sweet.
Refractor. Yeah, that stuff is amazing. Here's some stars again. Kershaw, Devers, DeGrom.
Did you get some Chrome versions?
I did. Not in that style. Cam Newton, John Elway, Unbreakable. Good thing he's unbreakable.
Right.
Second year McCaffrey, premier levels. Same with Larry Fitz. Nice John Elway die cut. Gardner Minshew, one of my favorite players of all time. And look at this, Jared Goff.
Another one.
Jared Goff sells. They're going to be good this year. I got a whole bunch of Jalen Hurts base, Justin Jefferson base. Those are just some examples. First year optic is my favorite year because they looked a lot like the old Donruss cards. You got some really cool ones of those. There's Mr. Puckett, Nolan Ryan Sandberg, the Mick, another Kirby, another Nolan Ryan, and a Pete Rose. I got Precious, Select Rookie, Rudy Gobert.
Man, you got all sports in there, right?
Yeah, it was supposed to be all four sports, which is kind of what I like when I buy those lots. Usually somebody focuses somewhat on one sport.
Yeah.
And so it kind of allows me to do some other stuff. I got a bunch of overall cards. But I think that's enough. I don't know. But yeah, that's some pretty good examples of some of the stuff we got.
Yeah, that was definitely a hit.
Very pleased with it. Check out this Willie Mays one. Willie Mays refractor.
I've actually got one of those. Yep.
Yeah.
Love
Aren't they
them.
awesome?
I just sold
Love
a
that.
bright paper of that very same card.
Yeah, how much?
I want to say it was $4.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd take that all day long.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, just a lot of that kind of stuff. Here's ooh, I got a U Darvish rookie. The Darvish. Noah Syndergaard. Oh, first. So I'm gonna list it as rookie.
Here we go again.
A bunch of these like kickoff parallel playoff cards. This is Tony Gonzalez. I don't know, 2,000 or so of those. Anytime I can get parallels, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even if they're lower end players. Yeah, a bunch of like eBay, Sanders,
Yep.
Emmett, Roethlisberger. So a lot of Roethlisberger.
Lots of hobby.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's hobby. Josh Allen. You know, some of the basic usual suspects. Every one of the basketball cards is some kind of parallel or it's
Perfect.
like here's a Denny Avdia, Herbert Jones. There's a Kyle Lowry, Xavier Tillman, Charles Barkley, Refractor, Anthony Davis Laser, CJ Silver. So even if they're not some of the biggest names, they're all color, right? So that adds to it. Even if I got to throw them in $4, and if I paid 4 cents a card, you know, you're doing pretty well. So
for sure.
Yeah. So and it kind of forced me to buy stuff that I wouldn't normally buy.
Yep.
But I paid $85 for the whole thing, so I'm pretty satisfied with that. Like all this basketball, all color. There's a bunch there. Here's some more Prism basketball. Here's some more color here. It's like I don't know if this guy was bought a bunch of. I got a bunch of other numbered stuff in that too. Devin Booker.
Some of those. It seems like he was hunting for something particular. Some of those, and the rest of it had no draw to.
Yeah, so extremely pleased. This is probably even better than but trying to see if there's any other good things yeah, and then there's like a bunch of rookies and stars rookies. Here's a goal. So yeah, I'm not quite sure what he was going for. I did get Justin Fields rookie.
There you go.
Can't go wrong with his. Yeah. And then, like I said, so I've got probably like listable value. Probably have about 400 cards, so I've got about 1,100 cards that I think are going to my diamond order boxes. Quality cards, they're modern, which is nice because the last big lot I bought was all football vintage, which I also did a home run on. Crossing sports there, but I think you would understand what it's worth. And so I was really happy to find something where it was a bunch of modern games, so that I have a lot of variety in those boxes.
Yeah.
So
got to be good about that lot.
Yeah, I 4 cents a card. I don't know how you can buy base store cards and cards. Fine.
Yeah.
You know, as long as you have a couple of decent bets, maybe a rookie or two here and there, It's really all you need is a table for sure at the top. But $88 is not exactly, $85 is not exactly a big risk to take either.
Right. For 1,100 cards or whatever it was.
Yeah, 1,500 a piece. So
15.
if I lose all $85, I can still, so it's fine.
Yeah.
But that's that. I think we did a lot of chat level this week. I was kind of hoping for it. Started out right away. So we're hoping we get some more. So maybe next week since we changed the time, maybe we'll put it off too. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I like the 8 o'clock. I like 8 o'clock. I think that's a good time slot.
Works for me.
So the next week you won't be on vacation. So.
No, I'll have some stable connection. I'm actually pretty pleased. We made it through the whole show. I was really concerned that I was going to get dropped off 3-4 times. So
yeah, it worked perfectly. I had no idea. You lock up. I think like really early on, you lock up for 2 seconds. But the picture's been clear. Yeah, so kudos. You got it figured out.
Perfect.
Next week, we don't know what our topics are going to be. We're going to be back on our home turf, so we'll start get the computers back involved, and maybe show some numbers, do some more high-level tech examples of different things we can show. Maybe show some bots we buy, things we're looking at, and try to get some more engagement that way as well. But for those of you who did watch, really appreciate it. Please like, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell if you want to be notified of these types of videos in the future. Charlie, any parting words?
Just thanks for joining us. Always a pleasure talking cards, talking the hobby with you. Other than that, peace out, people.
And go Cubs.
Go Brewers.
Who gets the final say then?
Stuart always gets the final say.
That's right.
What do you think, Stuart? Like it.
You just said go Cubs.
You speak screaming goat, I guess.
Who doesn't? Get a translator. Come on.
Nice.
Well, enjoy your vacation, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, man. I look forward to another week where the Brewers are above the Cubs in the standings.
Enjoy it. It might be the last week. Night, everybody.
Take care, bro.